week were great for our Chevy Silverado, and my pit crew, they did an awesome job. So I'm going to need their help tonight, but we're going to get what we can. And when we come in and pit, it's going to be real crucial that my guys get me out of pit road quick, and I think we can do it.
You know what, though, Steve? David Starr has got to get past a lot of these Hemi-powered Dodges here, like Bobby Hamilton and so forth, so it's going to be a tough race here tonight at Darlington.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. That it is. Let's take a look at our racing menu. The track NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series just ahead, followed by NASCAR Live, the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown, Speed News Saturday. It's a late-night edition, and Pitbull. Hey, that's another fun edition of NASCAR Live presented by Nextel. Done.
Tonight, the Lady in Black takes center stage to dance under the lights with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The championship remains undecided with 2 races left in the season. A mere 133 points separate the top 4 spots in the chase. But the lights are on Dennis Setzer and Bobby Hamilton to decide who has what it takes to overcome the track too tough to tame. The Darlington Raceway will be under the lights tonight for the first race ever in NASCAR history. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman. Last night, rain dampened our spirits, caused our first postponement in 3 years in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We thought the race was going to get underway, and it began to rain harder. Today it's been overcast and windy, and thankfully no forecast of rain for this evening. Temperature just under 60 degrees. Let's go trackside. Wendy Norris.
They called Darlington the track too tough to tame for a reason. Dennis Setzer found that out Thursday during his qualifying lap when he walked away with the notorious Darlington stripe. Tonight, Dennis starts 17th, which is a concern for the 46 team. They find themselves chasing points the last 2 races of the season. Dennis Setzer found himself back on top in the points after Bobby Hamilton suffered a brutal race 3 weeks ago at Martinsville. Setzer was able to maintain his narrow margin over Hamilton for only 1 race. The Square D Dodge finished ahead of Setzer at Phoenix and took back the points lead. Trailing Hamilton by 7 points, Dennis Setzer has not led a lap since mid-July, but he's managed to stay in the hunt by capitalizing on the misfortune of other drivers. If the 46 team hopes to win the 2004 championship, they better grab the wheel with both hands and kick it into high gear tonight at Darlington. It's only 7 points, but it's still a deficit, Dennis. How do you approach these last 2 races when you're chasing so closely for the points?
Well, just like we have all year, you know, consistency's paid big dividends for us all year. Team's done a great job. Nothing's fell off our Silverado anytime, and you know, these guys just do a great job putting these things together.
Now, I've heard drivers say you need to race the track, not the other drivers. What makes Darlington so difficult?
Well, probably the wall down in turns 1 and 2. I found that thing in qualifying and got the right side in there. We had a pretty good truck through practice. Messed around, got in the wall the first lap. Come back with a decent second lap to get 17th, but we had a little better truck than that.
Now, when you're starting 17th, what does that mean to come through the pack at this kind of track?
Well, hopefully we've got a good truck. We can make some passes down through the low end of 1 and 2. Maybe even make some moves through 3 and 4 on this deal. But, you know, save the tires, make the moves late in the run right there and see how it comes about.
All right, I think Ray Dunlap has caught up with our points leader, Bobby Hamilton.
Well, Wendy, I want to talk about Bobby Hamilton because in the 54-year history of the Darlington Raceway, only 2 father and son combinations have ever gone to victory lane here. David and Larry Pearson, and also Ned and Dale Jarrett. But right here's a Bobby Hamilton, not the one that's leading the points, but a junior. And today he starts 3rd in this race. He'll be driving a truck they call Rambo. It's a good vehicle, and Bobby has a good shot at winning this race. But will he win this race if he has to race his dad? Because remember, the other Bobby Hamilton is looking for a championship. After regaining the top spot in the points last week in Phoenix, all eyes are on Bobby Hamilton. Next up for the Square D team, 2 of NASCAR's toughest racetracks, Darlington and Homestead. A win tonight at Darlington could separate the 4 team from the hard-charging 46 and Dennis Setzer. Bobby's last 2 trips to the Lady in Black have ended in victory lane, and that's just what the Square D team needs to bring their 2004 season that much closer to their first ever championship. Now here's one thing that Bobby Hamilton may have an advantage over the field today. He only ran a couple of laps in practice, so he's got a lot of extra tires in the pits, but the big question is, will he get to use them? I'm not sure, but for more, let's find out by going upstairs to the guys in the booth.
Well, thanks, Ray. Let's look at the Ford point standings. They've never been closer with 2 races remaining. Hamilton and Setzer ready to fight it out for the 2004 championship. Starr wants to finish in the top 5 for the first time in his career, and Steve Park wants to hold on to his top 10 position. Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Allen alongside of Phil Parsons and Michael Waltrip. Now, there is a chase for the championship going on here in the Truck Series, 7 points separating our top 2 competitors, but Bobby Hamilton has something maybe even more important to accomplish. He's won the 2 races that he's run here. Phil, is he running to win his 3rd ever race here at Darlington?
Rick, I think Bobby Hamilton's goal, and he told me yesterday that his goal was to beat the 46 truck. The big picture is what he has in mind, and that's the championship. He won races. He would love to win his 3rd race here at Darlington, but he wants that first championship for himself and for Dodge. As Ray mentioned, Bobby Hamilton his truck was so good that he ran so few laps in practice that he has an extra set of tires. And at Darlington, an extra set of tires could be important.
Could be, Phil, but today in the Busch race, they granted us 3 sets of tires to change under caution. There was lots of cautions, but they didn't fall right. We only put 2 sets of tire on our Aaron Chevy today. That's all the front guys were able to put on their cars because of the fact the cautions didn't fall right. I think all the planets would have to line up perfectly in order for Bobby Hamilton to take advantage of that extra set of tires he has. I don't think the race is long enough. I don't think you'll see that be a factor.
Well, tires could be a factor today, or they might not be. It's going to depend on when the pit stops fall and when the caution flags fly. The drivers are getting ready for the 24th race of the season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. 2 remain in the chase for the championship. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR and the NHRA. Understands just how costly mistakes can be, quite like veteran Truck Series driver Ted Musgrave.
Ted pulled to the inside there. You're not supposed to do that.
If you look back to 2003, the championship was still undecided coming into the last race of the season at Homestead. Musgrave was in position for his first ever championship. However, NASCAR determined that Musgrave made an illegal pass before a restart, awarding the championship to Travis Kvapil by a very narrow margin. With last year's disappointment behind him, Ted entered the 2004 season with high hopes, but had early struggles. Gene Need's eventual return as crew chief and wins at Milwaukee and Richmond found Ted back in contention for a championship. However, after dominating most of the race at Phoenix, a cut tire may have ended any championship dreams for Team Ultra. Had Musgrave won at Phoenix, he would be just over 40 points out of the lead. Carl Edwards started off the 2004 season with a bang with a win at Daytona. Overall, Edwards has had a successful season with wins at Kansas and Bristol, but a few bad finishes and blowups at Kentucky and Vegas may have outshined his championship dreams. Also, taking over the '99 Ford in the Nextel Cup Series may have caused undue distractions for a team that seemed destined to finish the season in the top spot.
Well, Ted, when we look back on that race last week, I know just one little flat tire changed everything for you. So with 2 races to go, what do you do now?
Same as what the regular program was. Just try to win the race, try to lead the most laps, get the most points. You know, we thought we had a shot at the championship till that happened, but I'll tell you what, you know, the trucks have been good, the teams have been good, pit stops, just something like that throws you out of the hunt. But like I say, you know, it didn't change our mentality. We're just going to go out there and try to do the best we can again.
Tell me about tonight. How do you race this racetrack for the first time ever under the lights?
Same as you race it without the lights. You race the racetrack and don't worry about anything else. And, you know, that's basically what the veterans are going to do is kind of fall in a spot and race until about 3/4 of the way through, then go race each other. Let them young guys go out there and beat it up a little bit, put on some action, and let's see what happens at the end.
All right, Ted has never been worse than 3rd in the points. He hopes to be there or better when we get done at Homestead. Wendy?
Thanks, Ray. I'm with our pole sitter, Carl Edwards. Carl, you have a big bonus plan tonight. The Craftsman win from the pole, $30,000, the highest it's ever been. How cool would it be to win at this track?
Oh, it'd be awesome. That'd be great. I'm going to share it with my Super Chips crew. If we win that thing, the money's going to them. So I have a feeling we'll have good pit stops tonight from them, and I think if everything goes perfectly, we should be right there fighting for the win. I'm pretty excited about it.
Now, after last week in Phoenix, you lost just a little bit more points, 133 points back. What do you think about this chase?
Yeah, we had right front wheel work loose, and that's really frustrating. We had a great truck, but I mean, we got 2 races left, and anything can happen, and hopefully it's all good things, and I think we can still do it. I mean, that's what we're fighting for.
Carl Edwards hopes to get a few more laps this year in the truck race. Last year he overheated. Not many laps for Carl Edwards last year.
With Carl Edwards moving on to the Busch or Cup Series next season, that's at least 1 seat opening up next year. The Roush team has put together a competition to win that spot for 2005. Over 300 hopefuls sent in applications for Roush's Race for the Ride.
One of the reasons we're picking North Wilkesboro is it's a challenging track with a worn-out surface. Nobody that is here has been on this racetrack before, so that made it a neutral racetrack for everybody. We've had a lot of fun here. It's a challenging racetrack. It's a driver's racetrack.
My name's Justin Hobgood.
My name is Wade Day. My name's David Gilliland.
It's just a marvelous thing to be back at North Wilkesboro.
It's amazing. I've been working on race cars, all my life.
I feel like I could just as good a shot as anybody, I think. A little bit nerve-wracking, but this is what we love to do, and this is what we've worked all our life to have the opportunity to be able to do this.
We started doing our gong show thing probably about 86 or 87 for our road race cars. And what we're doing here today, 20 years later, nearly 20 years later, is really a refinement of that.
I've been racing for 30 years, and I can't tell you, I'm not smart enough to tell you what I'm looking for, but I am looking at everything, and I'll tell you what, I'd hire anybody we put in this truck so far today. Every one of them is spectacular, and the thing that sets them apart, it's those little things.
I am really, really impressed with each and every one of them. Knowing studying a little of their background, I'm really impressed how they've adapted to these things.
I mean, we got a lot of good guys out here. I mean, it's really tough on us. There's so much good talent out here. We don't really look for the fastest speed. We kind of look for, we get feedback from the driver, what the driver's feeling, consistency.
It's a lot of talent here. It's a lot of good drivers. I know a few of them, and some of them I don't, but I've been watching, and I know there's some good guys here, so it's going to be hard.
I thank God every day that this is happening. I guess it's my shot that I'm going to get to try to do this. It's a dream come true for me. Like I said, just the opportunity to come here and do this deal and be able to show these guys what I have and what I can do is a dream come true. So hopefully it all works out for us.
Over the years, we have worked out a process with an expectation, and we're just perfecting that a little bit more here.
I'll tell you, Michael and Rick, I was there for one of the 2 days that they ran these guys. And as Rick, you mentioned, over 300 applicants applied for this opportunity. They pared that list down to 50-some, and they were trying to get down to 20 to take to North Wilkesboro, and they couldn't do it. They had to stop at 26 or 27, but a lot of talent there, a lot of enthusiasm, just a great program. This program gave us Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch a few years ago, so obviously this program works. And all the crew chiefs were there. We heard from Cowboy, we heard from Tony Price, Pat Trice and Marks. Nextel Cup crew chief was there. Tony Liberati, another one of the Roush Busch crew chiefs, was there. And they were all interested, all taking notes and all evaluating all these drivers. And they're going to be 10 of them come here to Darlington on Monday. North Wilkesboro was challenging. This is going to be a big-time challenge for those 10.
I just am so impressed with the whole Roush organization for putting together this program. It is so cool that they've got the people, the equipment to show up at North Wilkesboro, run some guys through the trucks, understand a little bit about each of them, and then evaluate it and bring 10 of them to Darlington for the opportunity to replace Carl Edwards in that Super Chips Ford right there. I think that this is the wave of the future. This is how you're going to see your next Jeff Gordon come into the sport. This is how you're going to figure out where Casey Kane was all those years. We brought Greg Biffle to the sport through Roush Racing. Now we're going to see the next guy come to Roush Racing.
Great opportunity for young drivers. Bobby Hamilton looking to make the next step towards his championship that he'd like to wrap up at Homestead. We're under 30 minutes until the green flag flies at Darlington. Welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Darlington 200 on Speed Channel. Let's go trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, there's a chance that we'll see a lot of flat sides on race trucks tonight, but this is the first time I've seen a flat Stanley. What in the world you got there, Shane?
This is a boy out of Texas named Eric gave me this thing right here. He sent it to me, and we're taking him on an adventure. He's sponsored by Trim Spa, kind of like my truck tonight, so we're going to keep a journal and show them all of our adventures and show them how the racing world is, and send it back to somebody else to do the same thing. So looking forward to tonight. Didn't have a good day in the Busch car. Had a flat tire. Trim Spa Dodge was good, but the Trim Spa Chevrolet is good over here in the truck series.
All right, well, maybe you can show Flat Stanley where Victory Lane is tonight.
I'm going to try.
All right, Wendy, who you got?
Casey Kane is making his first truck series appearance ever. You qualified 4th. I've seen you get in and out of this truck twice already. What are you doing in there?
Well, the seat's a little low, so we're trying to mess with that and just pick it up so I can see a little better. But looking forward to it. It should be pretty fun. We had a Great Clips car was all right in the Busch race. We just didn't get a very good finish. We got way too loose there, and hopefully we'll be able to get this Team ASC Dodge better.
Casey Kane steps into this Ultra Motorsports truck. Jamie Mack won in this truck at Martinsville. Casey Kane wants to add his name to the list of Ultras All-Stars. Ray?
Well, Wendy, when you look at the winner list on that 2 truck, Jason Leffler's name's on that, but tonight you're in the 47. What in the world are you doing back here truck racing?
Well, I can tell you I'm glad to be here. There's no funner place to come run a truck than Darlington, right up against the fence sliding around. But, you know, the guys from Morgan Dollar called me up earlier this week, and Ward Burton was supposed to drive it and couldn't make it. And just got to thank the guys from the race team at Computer Associates and Axiom and, of course, Chevrolet for this opportunity. Truck's running good. Looking forward to getting in the race and racing the racetrack and sliding around and staying off the wall and all the fun things you do here at Darlington.
Now, your teammate, Dennis Setzer, is racing for a championship. So what's the team orders tonight? If you got a chance to go win this thing, are you going to give it your all?
Definitely. I mean, that's the deal. If we have a chance to win it, go for it. If not, just see where the chips fall. But, you know, I think our main goal is just not to get in Dennis's way and do anything stupid there. So it's a great opportunity. It's fun. I'm glad to be back at the track. Been sitting around for the last few weeks, and no funner place to race a Craftsman truck than here at Darlington.
Okay, good luck tonight. That is Jason Leffler in the 47. Wendy?
Rick Crawford starts 11th at a track you've never finished outside the top 10, Rick. How cool would it be to go to Victory Lane with a special guest you have with you tonight?
Oh, it'd be special, very special, actually. First legendary track like Darlington, and to come here with the respect that we got for this place and to race a racetrack like Donnie Allison and Bobby Allison and David Pearson, Cale Yarbrough's taught a lot of people how to do that. And got a good truck tonight. And for Dan Leseskowitz, from a Bronze Star winner from Baghdad over in Iraq, just come home, and extra special, you know, because that's really a tour of duty, that because he's been over there for about a year. He comes home with a extra special honor.
Now, how do you assess the last 2 races, knowing where you are in the points and looking ahead to 2005?
I'm trying all I can do to get in that top 10, and I owe that to Tom Mitchell. Give us everything to work with this year, and we shouldn't be outside the top 10, so we're driving like heck to get back in it.
All right, Rick Crawford looking for a win here at Darlington, Ray.
Well, Wendy, we talked about Bobby Hamilton at the top of the show. We heard from Jason Leffler that he's here to race the win, but what about your teammates? You got your son here and Chad. What's the team orders tonight?
I told them to go. I mean, I would like to win this thing, Ray, but obviously there's a big picture I have to worry about. And, you know, I'd like to be 3 for 3 here. I won the first one, the inaugural, and I'd like to win the last one going out, but I'm not going to get that greedy. I would just like to finish ahead of Dennis. That's a great race team. They've been very consistent this year. And, you know, Chevrolet's got some other drivers in here, and Casey Kane come over to help us out, try to win a race in a Dodge. If a Dodge can win the race tonight, it locks the Manufacturers Championship up. So maybe Casey can pull that off for Bobby Jr. The rest of it's up to us for the championship.
Okay, let's talk about tires real quick. Are you going to put on all 4 sets of those tires tonight, or is track position more important?
I doubt it. I'm just hoping I got a set to turn in and get credit on them at the end of the race. So what I'm hoping. I'm an owner, too.
Yes, he is. That's the owner talking, not the driver, guys.
We're under the lights for the first time ever at Darlington Raceway. When we come back, we'll have more pre-race activities. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Darlington 200 on Speed Channel is brought to you by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR and the NHRA. And by the next Ford Super Duty, tougher, stronger, smarter. And by Federated Auto Parts Stores, professional advice, brand names. Craftsman is awarding a total of 19 autographed toolboxes that include a full set of tools. These are the same toolboxes awarded to the winning truck drivers in Victory Lane. Phil, who chose David Starr from Phoenix?
Rick, we had over 2,000 entries this last week. 25 of those correctly picked David Starr to win the race, and Rhett Reesing of Abilene, Texas was our winner.
Congratulations to Rhett. Let's take a look at the Domino's starting grid for tonight's race. Carl Edwards claiming his third career Truck Series pole. That's his second this year. And on the outside of him in the first row is Shane Meal with his best start that he's ever had. That equals his Texas start earlier this year.
And you got to think Casey Kane's going to have a shot to win this race, Phil. He just got out of a Busch car. He's up to speed. He knows what's going on. He's in a fast truck. Jamie Mack won that truck a couple weeks ago, excuse me. You got to like his chances tonight.
Our Phoenix winner, David Starr, starts on the outside of row number 4, looking for 2 in a row.
David Rudeman, leading the Rookie of the Year contenders so far this year, starts on the outside of row 6.
Todd Bodine, 2-time winner, looking for number 3, and that Germain Toyota starts outside row number 9.
And a cat that knows how to get around this place well. Mike Skinner is going to start inside the top 20. Look for him to push toward the front.
Jack Sprague, 3-time series champion. Not having a very good qualifying run for him. He starts on the outside of row 11.
A lot of experience back on road number 14. Johnny Benson inside, Kenny Schrader outside.
Bill Lester's coming from deep in the field. He generally qualifies real well, Phil, but he hadn't been able to get the feel for the race setup. Maybe since he didn't qualify here good at Darlington, he can race well tonight.
Look at the Craftsman Tracks description for Darlington Raceway, the lady in black.
I'll tell you, it's hard to describe this racetrack, and that really doesn't tell the whole story. You see it's a little over 1.33 miles. The corners are completely different. This racetrack was built around a fish pond. That's why it's so odd shaped. You've got a big turn 1 and 2 down there, high speed, and then a little tighter 3 and 4 down at the other end.
We're real fortunate here, Phil. There's no grip. The tires give up in a hurry, and the reason why we're fortunate because of that is because the track's very tight. If you could stick to the road, we'd have 100 cautions. People would be running over each other in every turn. But because you can't get a good grip on the racetrack, people tend to spread out a little bit, give each other a little bit more space because they don't know where their truck's heading, and so therefore you don't see as many cautions. I think last year here in this race, we only had 2.
We look at the Ford race analysis. Both of you mentioned earlier, tires play a big role in how you analyze this race.
Yeah, and we talked about Bobby Hamilton having an extra set in the pit. Track position still, though, Rick, is very important. If there's multi-cautions and cats stay on the lead lap, you're not going to run 7 or 8 laps and come get tires. You need to run at least 25 or 30 in order to be able to take advantage of a new set in the pits. And in order for that to work out, the caution's got to fall every 25 laps, and the chances of that happening are pretty slim.
Well, tires are going to play a big role, but a lot of crew chiefs will say if a driver doesn't get a Darlington stripe, then he's not driving hard enough. We'll be back with more from Darlington. Hello and welcome to Darlington, South Carolina, and the Darlington Raceway for the Darlington 200, live on Speed Channel. I'm Rick Allen, joined in the booth by Phil Parsons and Michael Waltrip, and down on pit road tonight, Wendy Norris and Ray Dunlap. We are running the race on Saturday night. That's tonight because last night we were rained out. Weren't able to get this race in. Tonight, no forecast of rain and cool temperatures, just under 60 degrees, a light breeze going through the Darlington area. We look at the Ford top 10 point standings. Bobby Hamilton in front of Dennis Setzer by 7 points, the closest points race ever in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series history. Let's go down trackside with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. It's chassis number 26 from Toyota for Hank Parker Jr. in the Airvest Toyota. What's the forecast tonight, man? You got a good enough truck to get up there and race with them?
I sure hope so. We've been real limited on practice because of all the rain. It's a lot cooler than it has been and got more rubber on the track than what we've had in practice. Looked like a lot of the Busch cars were getting loose, so hopefully we got it dialed in.
Okay, these guys start 7th. Wendy?
The last time David Starr and I talked, it was in Victory Lane in Phoenix. Not so excited at the start of the race tonight, David. You qualified 8th, but you have to go to the back. Tell us why.
Well, NASCAR slapped me and Dave McCarty's hand. We were late to the driver's meeting, but we got a good Chevy Silverado tonight, so I think we can make it back up to the front.
Patience will be the key for David Starr tonight.
And Bobby Hamilton Jr. is strapping in here in the number 59. Tell me about the strategy tonight. Do you go out there and race for this win? Do you really, really do that, or are you worried about what old Pop's up to?
We go to win. If it comes down to the Square D Dodge behind us, the whole plan is for Square D Dodge to get all the points, so I'll finish second. But if I don't see him in the mirror and I got a chance to win, we're going, so that's the plan.
What do you expect from this racetrack tonight? It is definitely going to be cooler and different conditions than we've practiced with.
Wide open.
There's the answer. Wide open for Bobby Jr. in the 59. Rick?
Bobby Jr. racing with his father at Nashville and then again at Martinsville. And at Nashville, those two had the 2 dominant trucks of the evening. And Bobby Hamilton Jr. looking to have another dominant night. He'll start in front of his father. Tonight he starts in the 3rd starting position.
Yeah, Bobby Jr. has 2 top 10 finishes this year in his 2 events. He was 4th at Nashville, as you mentioned, led so much of the early part of that race and ended up finishing 4th.
It's got to be really cool for Bobby to own those trucks, be racing for a championship, and then have his son starting 3rd and racing one of his trucks. Bobby Hamilton's really enjoyed this Craftsman Truck Series experience, I would bet.
I would think so as well. Let's go down trackside for our pre-race activities.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, on this exciting and historical night, we seek your blessings on this great event. May you surround each driver with a legion of angels and give peace to those that support them. We pray, O Lord, that you will keep our men and women in uniform in the palm of your hands and give our president the clarity of mind as he makes decisions that affect the people of this world. We offer this prayer in the name of Jesus. Amen.
And now, race fans, will you please remain standing and welcome In Accord as they perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave,
Ladies and gentlemen, In Accord. And now, race fans, will you please welcome the second baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays, one of our very own from right here in Darlington, Orlando Hudson, for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines.
Orlando Hudson giving the command. The drivers have fired their engines, and we're about to get underway with the Darlington 200, the first race ever under the lights at Darlington. Tonight at 8 p.m. live on Speed Channel, it's the Toyota All-Star Showdown from Irwindale, California. The Toyota All-Star Showdown is the grand finale for the NASCAR Touring Series. The Busch North clashes with the West Series for Grand National Division bragging rights. The 4 elite divisions compete to be the best in the country tonight at 8 p.m. on Speed Channel. Take a look at the Domino's starting grid. Carl Edwards on top. Shane Meal will start on his outside in row 1.
Jason Leffler makes his first start in over a year, 10-time pole sitter in the Craftsman Truck Series.
See Matt Crafton and rounding out the top 10 there, and the next 10 includes Travis Quapple. Travis has been so fast, but lately his truck hadn't run as well. We'll see if he can rebound and have a good run today.
3-time champion Jack Sprague starts on the outside of row number 11. One previous Truck Series start here back in 2001. He finished 12th.
The 2 Speed Channel inside Nextel Cup cronies there. Benson and Schrader sharing a row.
Bill Lester starting on the inside of row 16. Normally a better qualifier, but we'll start in the 31st position tonight. We'll ride along with a few different drivers tonight. Ken Schrader being one in the Federated Auto Parts number 52. He'll start in 28th, so we'll be able to watch him work his way through the field.
There's Mike Skinner. His Toyota Tundra starts in the 19th position. Mike's had 19 previous starts here in the Nextel Cup and the Busch Series.
David Starr, the winner from Phoenix a week ago, just did a great job holding off Todd Bodine late in that race to grab that win, and it's got to be a lot of momentum for he and his team tonight. Jason Leffler just found out earlier this week that he would jump into the 47 Axiom Chevrolet, that all-star Chevy that Michael, you've driven before. We'll be riding along with him.
There's Casey Kane, as Wendy mentioned earlier, first ever Craftsman Truck Series start. Had a little problem in happy hour earlier today. Had to go to a backup car for tomorrow's Nextel Cup race.
But then he rebounded with an 11th place finish in a grueling battle to the checker flag with the old Aaron's Dream Machine. Casey and I battled side by side to the checker. I got 10th, he got 11th, so he's ready to go, I'm sure. Todd Bodine's having a little bit of trouble rolling off pit road, Phil. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe Wendy or Ray can check it out.
Craftsman win from the pole award by winning tonight's race from the pole position. Carl Edwards can win $30,000 for his team. If he doesn't win from the pole tonight, another $2,000 going to be added to the prize money. $50,000 has been available to the teams this season. Ray?
Hey guys, just want to tell you there is definitely a radio problem with Carl Edwards in that number 99 Super Chips Ford. They cannot hear Carl. Carl can hear the crew down here on the trackside. So they're going to do symbols for them to figure out what's wrong with his truck tonight. Now, also, I want you to keep in mind that the one truck at Ted Musgrave is my pick for tonight. 3 times in the career of Ultra Motorsports, they finished 1 and 2, first and second, that is, with the 1 and 2. I think tonight is another good chance that we'll see the 1 and the 2, the first 2 trucks across the victory lane. Wendy?
Dennis Setzer is definitely in the hunt for the championship, only 7 points behind Bobby Hamilton. He qualified 17th tonight. He has to start mid-pack. A lot can happen back there at the start of this race. Dennis definitely has to be patient. I talked to Danny Gill before this race, and he said, I'd much rather start 17th than 18th. And I said, why? He said, well, when you start 18th, you got to start on the outside. You only have to go against the wall if there's a wreck. So Dennis Setzer can at least duck down low on the inside if the wreck does happen, and hopefully he can get back front soon at the start of the race. Rick?
Well, thank you, Wendy. I think we have some more communications. Not only are we going to see from these drivers' perspectives, but we can also talk to them. Michael?
Yeah, let's check with Schrader and see what he's doing. Hey, Kenny Schrader, it's Michael Waltrip and the gang up in the speed booth. Riding around there checking your pit road speed. How many RPM you got, and what are you thinking as you're getting ready to start this race?
Oh, Mikey, I got 4,200 RPM, second gear, and I'm thinking I maybe got 4,400, but thinking that I didn't do very good qualifying back here, looking at the back of too many trucks.
That's for sure. You know, and lately you've been qualifying that truck right up front. How did you feel with happy hour? Do you think you got something for these guys? Looking beside you there, Johnny Benson, your fellow Speed Channel analyst on Nextel Inside, whatever we call that show racing, is beside you. He always fights his way to the front. You feel good about your chances in the race?
We got Yeah, I do, Mikey. The Federated Outparts truck was good. Got some good trucks around us here, you know, with Johnny and Steve Park, and heck, I can see Skinner right up there and Sprague. So a lot of good trucks back here. We'll just see what happens. I know it will be one good, exciting race, and we get ready to come up our David Starr here. I guess they're serious about having to go to those drivers' meetings, huh?
Yeah, they make sure you know who's in charge. All right, have a good race. We're going to wrap it up with a lot of these guys ahead of you took 2 laps during qualifying. You chose to just take 1. Maybe that was the difference. So you're going to have 147 now. Hopefully you can run all of them and then beat these guys.
Thank you, Mikey.
Well, we had mentioned that there was problems with the radio of the 99 of Carl Edwards. Wendy, is Todd Bodine having problems as well?
He sure is. Now, we did hear the 99 will put a radio in that truck when they come down pit road. Well, the 30, Todd Bodine, decided to change the radio before they even went out on the track. So NASCAR let them take that new radio. But the consequence is Todd Bodine will have to start at the back. So you'll see the 30 drop to the back of the field for that radio change. Also, no radio communication with Shane Meal's spotter, Steve Meal. He has no radio communication with Shane, which could be a big deal at this kind of track.
You know, guys, we're seeing a lot of radio trouble here, but it rained so much yesterday, and these trucks, maybe the radios got wet, but Todd Bodine missed the driver introduction. We heard David Starr miss the driver's meeting. He had to go to the back. Todd Bodine missed the driver introduction last night, so he would have to go to the back anyway. So he's got a new radio, and hopefully everything's working well for him.
And NASCAR, they don't like it if you can't talk to your driver, so you got to be able to hear something. And I'm sure that Carl can hear his crew. They just can't hear him. Probably the same deal with Shane. So they'll have to straighten that out as we go forward. They're coming down to get the green here in a minute, Phil, and this is going to be as cool as anything you've ever seen. Under the lights at Darlington. Would you have ever thunk it?
First time ever, right here, right now.
Carl Edwards.
Who'd have thunk it?
Had the decision if he wanted to start on the inside or outside. He made the decision to stay on the inside of the front row. He sits on the pole for the first ever race under the lights at Darlington. The Darlington 200 is now underway.
Bobby Jr. takes a look to the inside.
All right, it didn't take long to get things going, did it? Bobby Jr. grabs the lead on the inside, 3 wide into turn 1. Driving off with the lead as they leave turn 2.
Carl was really worried about Shane beating him down to turn number 1, and Bobby Jr. beat both of them.
Wow, a little bit of mix-up there back in the field. Chase Montgomery got shot down to the bottom.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. a commanding lead as he comes by the start-finish line for the first time. Leading the first lap, Shane Meal has slid into second. Carl Edwards drops to third. Bobby Hamilton fourth, and Casey Kane rounding out the top 5.
Wow. Big time wiggle there for Ted Musgrave. He was on the inside of Jason Leffler going down into turn number 1. Got sideways. Wow. That's really not a corner you want to go side by side into, is it, Michael?
No, but it's a way to argue for space, Bill. You know, you get a run on somebody, you can't really give it up. Track position is very important, and if you can get an edge on a guy, you got to jump on it and take advantage of it right when you get it. I love watching cars, trucks. I love watching things go around the Darlington Raceway. It is so close. I mean, the trucks are right next to the fence every inch of the way.
And remember, this is as good as these trucks are going to get. They get brand new tires. All these trucks are starting with new tires. They've only run 2 laps. These tires will deteriorate for every lap, probably for the next 40 laps or so. NASCAR will put a caution out at lap 40 because there was so much rain and these guys had very little practice time. Their happy hour was abbreviated to about 30 minutes. So NASCAR, if we don't see a caution before, we'll put a caution out at lap 40 for all these drivers to come in and be able to get these tires off and new ones on and make adjustments.
And it's such a drastic difference, Phil, in the way the truck drives on the older tires compared to the newer ones. So you'll see guys come to the front as the tires get older, and then other guys drive away when the tires are new. I think it's going to be very interesting to see if Bobby Jr. can keep this pace up that he's set right off the bat. He's grabbed a commanding lead in just 4 laps. Can he keep that up, or will his truck give up and some of the guys that aren't as good on the start begin to catch him?
Bobby Jr. running very well. Bobby Sr. has been able to get past Carl Edwards. Let's go down and find out if something's wrong with Carl, right?
No, absolutely not, Rick. They're just waiting for those tire pressures to come up. They're back to racing right now, and Carl said the truck feels fine. Now, you guys were talking about tires, and as we said that Bobby Hamilton has an extra set of tires. In the very first practice here at Darlington, Carl Edwards only ran 19 laps on his first set of tires, but they said those tires are junk. You can't use them if they got 19 laps. And as Phil said, Bobby Sr. only ran 4 laps on his. So 19 laps on a set of tires, and they threw them away.
9 laps on a set, Phil, and they would have been done with them. You would not want to put a set of 9-lap tires on here at Darlington, as opposed to a place like Martinsville, where we were just a couple weeks ago. You might scuff your tires for 9 laps to get them ready to race. And here it's just so drastically different.
And that's not an indictment to Goodyear, who brings great tires to this racetrack. It's the surface here. This surface has been worn out for a number of years. There's a lot of sand in the mix. It's really no asphalt hardly left. It's mostly rocks. And it's so abrasive that it just chews the tires up, and the trucks continue to slow down lap after lap.
And the worst thing in the whole world would be if we could stick to this pavement, like I said earlier, because there just isn't enough room out there to race. The reason why the racing is so competitive and so entertaining here is because these trucks are on the edge of control every second of the way.
And you remember back in the mid-90s, the last time they repaved this racetrack, every lap you ran here was just like qualifying that first year with new pavement. And talk about getting your attention now. You see how narrow this racetrack is. It looks wide, but we only race on about 2 lanes of what you see right there.
And most of it is run right up against the wall. Todd Bodine in the number 30. We had mentioned he had radio problems earlier, being shown in 24th position currently.
Coming up on the back of Steve Park. Those trucks are arguing over space. You see Schrader down on the inside, trying to work toward the front. Schrader's on the inside of Andy Houston, racing for the 26th spot.
I talked to Todd just before the Busch race today, and I asked him how his truck was in happy hour. Again, the abbreviated happy hour, and he said it was excellent. It was as good a truck as he's ever had. He feels like he's just as good as the 2 races he won this year, so he's very optimistic. A little contact. Steve and Terry Cook made a little contact there going through the corner.
Side-by-side racing. Terry Cook on the outside, Todd Bodine on the inside, and now Brandon Witt in the 38 also trying to take a look down there, as Johnny Benson is on the inside of Chase Montgomery in the 23. Todd Bodine running fairly well. Wendy, what's going on with Todd?
All is quiet on Todd Bodine's radio. You know, he already has 2 wins in the Truck Series, but he's never raced in a truck here at Darlington. He has plenty of Busch and Cup starts, and actually has a Busch win at this track, but no laps for Todd Bodine until this weekend in this truck.
Todd is a former, Todd is a former winner in the Busch Series here. He won a race last year. Remember that great battle with he and Jamie McMurray, where they essentially crashed coming across the start-finish line. Todd got the win. Jamie ended up finishing second.
Looking out of the back of Schrader's truck, the battle for second is tight, but Phil, these two have crept up on Bobby Jr. These 2 cats here, Shane Mill, you see right next to the wall. He turned the wall orange and turned
Why did your voice go up, Mike?
Because I've been there. I've done that. It's crazy. Shane slows down and lets Casey go by. You'll see some of that, Rick. These guys are just managing their tires, trying to figure out the best way to get to the front. Casey is a strong truck right now. These 2 are turning laps quite a bit faster than Bobby Hamilton while they're catching him.
Shane Mill in practice yesterday, or actually on Thursday, running practice, hit the wall 3 times coming out of turn 4, so he knows how to get himself a Darlington stripe. We'll be back with more racing at Darlington.
From Mario Andretti to Ryan Newman, for 37 years, one driver has been honored as the best of the best. Speed Channel's Driver of the Year. In 2004, this impressive list of winners will grow by 1. Who will it be? This quarter's nominees: Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Newman, Tony Kanaan, Tony Schumacher, Sebastian Bourdais, and Steve Kenser. Log on to speedtv.com now and cast your vote for Driver of the Quarter.
Welcome back to Darlington, South Carolina. While we were away, the 43 of Josh Richardson had problems and was trying to come down pit road and spun around, and so our first caution has come out at lap 13. We'll be back with more racing action from the track too tough to tame after these messages.
Welcome back to the Darlington 200. We're about half a lap, away from going back to green here. Now, you might wonder why a number of these guys didn't come in and pit. Well, that's because at lap 40, there will be a competition caution, so everybody will have an opportunity to pit on lap 40. Now, how about Bobby Hamilton Jr. out front? Has he got a good truck tonight? Absolutely. And does he have a good crew? Yes, he's got Harold Hawley, his crew chief, from the Nextel Cup Series over here and check out the guys behind the wall. The Tide crew is down here going truck racing tonight, and these guys think they can help Bobby Hamilton get those quick pit stops to keep that 59 truck up front. Guys, we get ready to go back to racing.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. will lead the field. Right behind him, Casey Kane in that Team ASE CarQuest #2 Dodge. And when they come down the front stretch, the green flag flies. We're back to racing.
Bobby Hamilton gets a good jump on Shane Mill, but Shane threw a block on him there. Bobby decided to lay back behind Shane. I thought it was pretty cool, Rick, to see Shane. He was pushing his truck really hard during that green flag run we just had. Got up against the wall a little bit and just said, you know, it might be a good time to lay over and let Casey go. We're both catching the 59. Maybe Casey's a little faster right now, and he just pulled over and let him go.
Is that maturity in driving? Are you learning maturity as you drive?
I think his spotter is his father. And he's seen a lot of races won here at Darlington Speedway, and he's seen a few lost over the years. He probably gave him some good advice there and said, let's just chill for now. We'll get our truck better, and we'll beat Casey at the end of the race. But if we run into the wall right now, it's going to hurt our chances to get a victory. You cannot mess up the right front corner of these trucks. That's a lot of downforce if you get into the wall with your right front corner. It's okay to scrape the right rear along the wall. Look at Casey right up next to it. It's okay to scrape that right rear along the wall, but you don't want to hit the right front.
Wendy, what's happening with Casey Kane?
Casey is a little snug in 3, he reports to crew chief Rip Bruce. The right rear is getting a little freer on him, but he asked not to make any changes to this truck when they do pit on lap 40. He was running a little bit hot, so they told him to run that fan under those caution laps.
He's done it. I think Bobby Jr. decided the same thing that Shane Mill decided. Casey's on the move.
This is probably one of the biggest racetracks that we run for give and take. And all the drivers realize that, hey, we're 20 laps into this race. There's 147 total laps. There's no sense fighting right now. We know we have a caution coming at lap 40. Why push the issue? If the guy's faster than me, let's let him go. We'll try to make our truck better. As you mentioned, Shane's going to try to make his truck better so we can beat him at the end of the race when it really counts.
Whoa, did you see Shane Mill? He got sideways off turn 2 there, and that's real easy to do. Turn 4 is more of a sweeping entrance. We saw Casey Kane get in trouble. This is Casey here exiting turn 4, excuse me. We saw him get in trouble in Nextel Cup practice right there exiting turn 4. But most of the problems exiting the corner will be off turn 2 over here.
And remember, there's 30 less inches to work with here. Most of these drivers, these truck drivers, raced last year here in the spring before they had the softer walls. There's 30 less inches to race, and this race was this racetrack was narrow going in, and now they've got 30 less inches to work with.
Jack Sprague just found out how close you can get to the wall as he brushed the wall earlier.
He got a little help. I think he got sideways getting in, and Steve ran up on him and just barely caught the left rear of that truck and knocked him into the fence. But looked like Jack got a little sideways entering the turn, and Steve didn't have anywhere to go.
And we're going to see that so often. That we're going to see a lot of trucks with a Darlington stripe, just like you see Jack Sprague's Chevy Silverado right there. There's going to be a lot of trucks scrape the wall here. We saw a lot of trucks in practice scrape the wall, and a few in qualifying, like Dennis Setzer.
I would venture to guess that half of the Nextel Cup cars over there in the garage area right now already have the sides scuffed off of them because of running right out next to the wall here at Darlington. That's what makes this place so cool.
Well, Michael, you're normally known for driving up near the wall, be it Darlington or be it Daytona. I mean, you're a guy who likes to run close to the wall. Is this a more comfortable track for you?
Well, it's just the nature of the beast, Rick. It's the only way to get around here. You have to be next to the wall. It's cool when the track has an option, you know, where you could pull down to the bottom or you can run up to the top. Right now, at this track, you got to be faster on the top. That's where you got to get your truck working, so there really isn't any option.
See, Johnny Benson made a nice pass on the 88 if Tracy Hines is going to bring David Starr, the 75 Spears truck, with him. Johnny made some adjustments on that caution flag, and hopefully he's made his truck better.
Now, those two are running in 27th and 28th position right now. So there's great racing from top to bottom of this field.
And I would say that watching a truck race on speed, how does it get any better than that? The only way would be to come to Darlington and watch these trucks, because if you're sitting in these grandstands, you will not believe the precision these cats drive with. They're driving at 150 miles an hour, 1 inch off the wall. It's crazy.
And Michael, sometimes not 1 inch, sometimes right up against it.
And this racetrack was built for speeds of 100 miles an hour back in 1950. Ray, what's going on?
Well, Phil, just wanted to update you on Johnny Benson. He has made his truck a good bit better. He was very loose. They came in at lap 15, did not put any tires on, but they went down on the track bar all the way, so that thing's buried completely. And Johnny says the truck is much better now. Now, he will pit at lap 40 when we have the competition caution, but he won't have to make any track bar adjustments or anything. They'll just be able to put tires onto that truck, and that way he might be able to get off pit road quick. And there goes a move on the racetrack as Hamilton goes by the 15.
And Carl Edwards almost tried to get by Shane Meal and then decided better as he was entering the corner. So he backed off and let Shane Meal hold on to that fourth position as Bobby Hamilton is now moved up into third. Casey Kane continues to lead. We've had 2 leaders at Darlington. Bobby Hamilton Jr. led a few laps to start this race off, and now Casey Kane is out in front. Welcome back to Darlington, South Carolina. Big change here. Our second caution has come out, and our leader, Casey Kane, has decided to pit. Wendy?
Casey Kane comes to a stop. They just made a last-minute adjustment. They decided to put stickers on the truck instead of the scuff tires they had on the wall, but no chassis adjustments for Casey Kane. Ray?
Well, Wendy, just trying to see who else is coming down pit road here. Most of the radio traffic is, everyone said if the competition caution is still going to happen on lap 40, why come now? Because we know that most everybody will be down trackside. Now, Leffler did come in there in the Axiom Chevrolet. You see, doesn't look like they've changed any tires, though. They just made a track bar adjustment and put fuel in that thing.
Oh, it looked like a little contact between Travis Quapple and Jason Leffler as Travis was pulling out of the pit.
Travis's catch can is now sitting on pit road. I think someone just grabbed it and pulled it off, but Travis was sitting on pit road after it looked like some contact.
That'll necessitate a penalty for Travis Quapple for taking equipment out of his pit. You see Jason Leffler, you see him lock up the brakes to try to avoid.
And did.
Travis, yeah, what a great job by Jason Leffler. Good heads-up move. Travis pulled way out, looked like to drive around the crew of the 13 truck, and was right out in Jason's path. And Jason heads up. Hopefully he didn't slide the front tires enough to flat spot him.
Now, I've never claimed to be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I do not understand this pit strategy that just went on. There's going to be a competition yellow at lap 40, which I don't think they should do that. I think they should have made this competition yellow, but that's a whole other story. But the 2 truck came in and got 4 tires. Okay, that's fine. He's probably not going to pit on lap 40. He'll stay out and keep track position. But why did the 47 pit and not take tires? He was running right up front. He just had passed Shane Mill. Why would he do that? I don't understand. This is Kelly Sutton. She's the reason why we're under caution. Phil, I understand why Kenny Schrader, some of the guys running 25th or 6th, pitted, looking for track position. They're going to wait for 9 laps here and hopefully be able to hold guys off to get fresh tires in. I do not understand pitting and not taking tires.
And I think Casey Kane has a good enough truck that he didn't need to do any pit strategy to try to get track position.
Kelly Sutton in the 0-2.
We're
being
confused
pushed off the track. Our second caution has come out at Darlington. We'll be back with more racing action after these messages. Welcome back to Darlington, South Carolina for the Darlington 200 live on Speed Channel. Bobby Hamilton Jr. back in front of his father, Bobby Hamilton Sr. will restart this race in second.
Michael, we are getting reports that Jason Leffler, the 47 truck, did take tires, so that made more sense. I'm a little less confused than I was before.
But I still don't understand the strategy on the 2 because they had the best truck. Why not just wait 7 laps? But, you know, they're going to give up a little track position if they wait because some other guys pitted. So we'll see how this works out. I bet you that the 4 passes the 59 and gains 5 points. What do you want to bet?
Fairly easily, I think, actually.
We are confused, but we know that. But oh, no, crash.
Shane Meal.
Shane Meal having problems. Hank Parker Jr. getting caught up in the number 21. We hear radio communications from his team asking if he has a flat tire.
A lot of body damage. That was Steve Meal. You mentioned Shane's father spotting for him. He looks like the right front tire may be flat. A lot of damage to the left rear corner. As you can see, Hank Parker Jr. was also involved with that. There's Hank. Quite a bit of damage to the front of his Toyota. Look at the right front wheel. That is not turned the right way.
It actually is turned to the left right now, and that's big damage for the 21 Airvest Toyota. of Hank Parker Jr.
Yeah, we're done.
Let's take a look again at how this took place.
Wow, that's a lot of damage on a restart too, Phil.
Well, you know, restarts, cautions breed cautions. There's Shane right there at the 15 truck. Center of your screen. Let's see what happens when they get down in turn number 1 here. Shane goes up high. He must have had a flat tire. He bounces off the wall.
Man.
Hank had nowhere to go, came along. Todd Bodine narrowly avoided that accident with a 30 truck. Shane must have had a flat right front tire when he drove down in turn number 1.
There just wasn't any way for him to turn the truck, or he had some stuff on his tires. He didn't get his tires cleaned off. But here at Darlington, that's not usually a problem. So probably had a flat tire.
NASCAR is now calling this the competition caution. What a great move by the 2 truck of Casey Kane.
Genius.
They don't have a half a lap on these tires. He's going to have track position. Everyone else is going to come down pit road this time. A great move like we thought.
That's why I love racing. Do not ever have a plan, because every time a wheel turns, the plan has to change, don't you think?
Yep.
You have to be constantly adjusting your strategy. Pit road is still closed right now, so when this all shakes out, the 2 trucks going to be leading with a nice little light scuff on his tires.
Just knocked the new off him a little bit.
Now the folks watching at home probably think, you know, that we're not that smart.
No, they're saying those 2 veterans have really got this figured out.
No wonder they're in the booth instead of out there driving. But I'm not kidding you. It could have worked out so differently.
Now, does this play into Bobby Hamilton's favor, having that extra set of tires that we've talked about?
Not as of yet. I think the competition caution in itself probably did not play in Bobby Hamilton's favor. He would love for this race to have gone, again, just as Michael mentioned, cautions every 25 or 26 laps. Everybody here knew that the caution was going to come out at lap 40, or in this case now lap 36 or 37 is when all these trucks will make pit stops. So this is probably not what Bobby Hamilton wanted to see, but he knew that going into this race. As Michael said earlier, he's probably not going to be able to use that extra set of tires, but it's nice to know that he has them. You never know if you get turned around in an accident and you flat spot your tires, you can come right back in, put another set of tires on, and you'll be right back with fresh tires. Whereas if you had one set less, then that would be one of your allotted set, and NASCAR will not give you flat spotted tires. You have to only flat tires on the rim will you could be able to replace.
And we have to reiterate, when we mention Bobby Hamilton with an extra set of tires, it's not that NASCAR or Goodyear gave him an extra set of tires. It's that he only took 4 laps of practice on Thursday preparing for this race, whereas everyone else was out there for 15, 20, 25 laps. Wendy?
David Rudiman in his first appearance at the track too tough to tame. As he pulls into his pit stall, he comes in 5th. The crew goes to work. Tony Enderle on the front, Travis Block on the rear. He was a little free on exit on both ends. An air pressure adjustment, and they're also going to pull a rubber on the right rear as they come around to the left side. Let's check in with Ray.
Well, you see 2 Hamiltons on your screen, Wendy. One is at the top. That's Bobby Jr. He was the leader. Bobby Sr. is in the middle of your screen. These pit stops being done, you see they had a little bit of a hang up on the right rear for the number 59, 17.4 and 17.7, pretty close pit stops. Now realize these guys were hoping to swap the lead out on the racetrack and let Bobby Sr. get out front to get his bonus points, but now he'll be 4th or 5th in line as they leave pit road.
Great pit stop by Todd Bodine, Germain Toyota. He beat out that 59 truck of Bobby Hamilton Jr. There's Bobby Hamilton Sr., the Square D Dodge.
But Phil, these guys that are making their pit stops now are going to line up behind 10 or 11 lead lap trucks that only have a half a lap on their tires. So a lot of track position was lost here by the Hamiltons, by David Rudiman, and some of these cats that have been running real strong early in the race, just due to the fact that the NASCAR competition yellow was thrown a couple laps after another caution.
So Bobby Hamilton will now restart back mid-pack as he tries to chase the championship in the Truck Series. Tonight at 8 p.m. live on Speed Channel, it's the Toyota All-Star Showdown from Irwindale, California. The All-Star Showdown is the grand finale for the NASCAR Touring Series. Busch North goes against West Series for Grand National Division bragging rights. Tonight at 8 p.m. on Speed Channel.
Here we go.
Randy Kaiser bringing the pace truck down pit road. Casey Kane back in front of this field. as they come to the green flag.
Now, does Darrell say boogity, boogity, boogity every time they restart? Or just at the start
of the race?
Okay. I'm trying to understand why the shebang
just never caught on there.
Didn't catch legs, and I thought maybe it was when I was delivering it.
I think it was the delivery.
Yeah, I guess that was true.
Casey Kane out in front of Jason Leffler, Matt Crafton, Chad Chaffin, and Andy Houston are our top 5.
There's a 30 truck just went out of your screen. Todd Bodine, he won the race off of pit road. He's got a collection of Nextel Cup pit crew members right now pitting that truck. Crew chief Mike Hillman's son, one of the tire changers.
This is going to be a great segment of the race to watch here, Phil. You got some guys leading the race that are the fastest trucks. Casey Kane, Jason Leffler, they proved themselves. And then the guys running 3rd to 10th, they're cats that use pit strategy to get their track position. Can they keep it? What's going to happen to the guys, Todd Bodine, Bobby Jr., Bobby Hamilton? Can they fight their way up through there?
Well, we're seeing Todd Bodine right now trying to fight his way past the 13 of Jason Small, and he'll make that pass.
Drives up to the 8th position, Rick.
Going to bring Bobby Jr. with him, along with Carl Edwards. We're getting a report that the Ford truck of Bobby Hamilton may have a tire rub, but if it's the left front, that's nothing that unusual because we see that truck rub that left front tire so often. Ray, what's going on with the Ford down there?
Well, Danny Rollins, his crew chief, looked it over and he said, well, we have a little contact out there on the track, but Danny Rollins told him, he said it looked like it had just a little bit of wear on one spot there, but he said it didn't blister and it wasn't losing air. Bobby Hamilton said, well, keep your eye on those tires so we know what we've got to do next time we get a caution.
Wow, it's tight when you're racing for a championship at Darlington, isn't it? Did you see Bobby Hamilton come around the 13? Those guys were just glued together as they shot through turn 3.
And right behind Bobby Hamilton, Dennis Setzer just made the pass on the 13 of Jason Small. And so 1 and 2 in the points are currently 13th and 14th in this race right now.
Jason Small got some track position, but is doing a nice job running very competitively right there with these guys that are used to being up front. Jason's a guy that runs mid-pack a lot, and he seems to be really running strong here.
He ran the majority of the races a couple years ago in the Truck Series, had a good top 10 run at Daytona, but is an infrequent competitor right now. He's only run a handful of races this year. Wendy, what's going on with Dennis Setzer?
Dennis did come in on lap 38. He started off the race tight off the corner, but his truck started to get a little bit neutral, so when they pit, they took 4 tires, but no adjustment for Dennis Setzer.
Dennis Setzer still within striking distance of Bobby Hamilton and that points championship race. Out in front, Casey Kane continues to lead Jason Leffler. Kane in the Team ASE CarQuest number 2. We're looking back at Jason Leffler in that Axiom All-Star number 47.
These drivers will see a lot of each other next year. They both will be running the Nextel Cup Series. Casey Kane with Ray Evernham. Jason Leffler was announced a couple of weeks ago that he will drive the 3rd entry for Joe Gibbs, the FedEx number 11. So be a lot of time together for these two, I'm sure.
And we see these drivers, and we've talked about it, running right up against the wall. Did the safer barriers make any changes to the lines that you would normally run around this track like that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, especially, I think the biggest adaptation that you had to make, Phil, when they added the safer barriers was in the center of 3 and 4. You know, you ran right against the wall anyway through 1 and 2, so you just moved over a little bit. But in 3 and 4, you dive down in the corner low and slide up to the outside wall. A lot of people were used to sliding a little bit further than what's available now. So the most difficult part of the track now, because of safer barriers, is your entrance into the turn 3 area.
I remember talking to Jimmy Spencer, who was going to try to qualify one of your Busch cars and end up not because of the rain. But he said, I just drove down in turn number 3, slid up like I normally did, and hit the wall. He said, I had no idea that I was going to be that close to the wall. Wendy, what's going on with Jason Leffler?
That first caution was perfect timing for Jason Leffler. He had a flat tire. The left rear was flat on his truck, so that caution came out. He came in and pit on lap 29, took 4 tires, and also decided to go down on the track car.
Sometimes timing is everything. We saw last week Ted Musgrave racing his way into the championship battle, and a flat tire cost him a chance at a championship. That's just crazy. But you know, Phil, when you run into each other with these trucks, metal flies off, tires are going to get cut. That's part of the game.
Casey Kane out in front of Jason Leffler by just over a half a second. So Jason Leffler starting to reel in Casey Kane. We'll be back with more racing after this. Welcome back to the 24th race of the season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Darlington 200 at the track Too Tough to Tame. Currently Casey Kane trying to tame this track as he runs out in front of Jason Leffler. Problems right behind Terry Cook.
J.R. Patton, the 67 truck, gets his Darlington stripe.
And Terry Cook experienced that just a few laps ago, as a matter of fact.
Gets passed by the 75 truck of David Starr. Terry Cook, and then the 8 truck. Watch this. Here goes David Starr by. Here comes Chase Montgomery. Pretty tight down there. Chase gets in and bounces a little bit, gets into him, and then Terry tries to pull away from him, makes a little bit of contact, messes up that right front fender like we were talking about, Michael. You don't want to do that here.
No, you can't tear up that part of your truck, Phil. It's pretty much the end of your night. You can't run competitively, but it doesn't look like it's pushed in all that far, so Terry's been able to maintain a decent rate of speed.
It really looks worse from looking from the left side than it does from the right side. But Terry's currently being shown right now in the 26th position.
Kenny Schrader just in front of Bobby Hamilton Jr. 52 of Kenny Schrader in front of Bobby Hamilton.
Remember, Kenny Schrader was one of the trucks that pitted early, along with the 2 of Casey Kane and the 47 of Jason Leffler. Bobby Hamilton is one of the trucks that came in a couple laps later on NASCAR's competition yellow. Again, they only have about a half a hard lap extra on these tires. When the trucks ride around on a caution flag, that doesn't hurt these tires. When they're running at speed, that's what takes wear and tear off these tires. So right now, I would call these drivers pretty much on equal tires.
Oh, I think that's exactly right, Bill. These cats just took advantage of a real fortunate situation with the way the yellow flags flew and got some great track position. And there goes Bobby Hamilton Jr. around Schrader, and here comes Todd Bodine. But the cat that's consistently picking off the fastest laps is your pole sitter, Carl Edwards. He's raced up to 4th position and is lap after lap faster than our leader, Casey Kane.
It looks like Cowboy made some great adjustments on that Super Chips number 99 because he is so fast, and he was not that great early on in this race. He fell back from his front row starting position back almost out of the top 5, but Cowboys made some terrific adjustments. Wendy.
Just wanted to update you on Ken Schrader. This is his 3rd time in a truck here at Darlington. Remember, he finished 2nd to Bobby Hamilton in 2001. They did pit on lap 36, but no changes for Ken Schrader. He only took 4 tires, no adjustments.
Another truck that's real fun to watch right now, Phil, is David Rudiman. He just drove around Johnny Benson. We talked about Johnny being in the top 5 a little bit ago. Johnny's fallen back to the 11th spot.
David Rudiman's just 2 spots in front of Dennis Setzer, who made a pass on Bobby Hamilton while we were away at break. And so Dennis Setzer trying to get back into the points race. This is that pass earlier. It took place while we were at break.
See Bobby Hamilton pull over. Even though he's racing Dennis Setzer for the championship, he knows we've got 80-some laps to go, so there's no sense. And obviously, we can see Bobby Hamilton's truck has come around a little bit for him. He was able to get back by Dennis Setzer. Remember, he told me that the 46 truck is the one he's concentrating on. That's the truck that he wants to beat.
Bobby Hamilton had fallen back a truck behind Dennis Setzer, and so he was 1 point ahead of Setzer at one point in time. And now, if the race would finish as we're running, Bobby Hamilton would only increase his lead over Dennis Setzer by 3 points. So a very, very tight points race going into Homestead if it stays as close as it is tonight.
And it appears these 2 trucks are about equal tonight, Rick. Everywhere they go, they seem to wind up in the same place.
Remember last year at Homestead, Bobby Hamilton won the race from the pole, so he's very optimistic. He really feels as though he's going to have a great truck again at Homestead next week.
This is a battle for the 10th position. David Rudiman has driven up through the field. He restarted about 15th or 16th after that last caution. He drives around John Wood there into the top 10. His truck is almost, watch out there, his truck is almost as fast as Carl Edwards. His lap times are just a half a tenth off of Carl. So David and Carl are the 2 fastest trucks right now.
He got a great run off turn number 2. That's what allowed him to drive by the 50 truck. He essentially made that pass by beating him off of turn number 2.
And debris on the backstretch.
You're hearing debris in the backstretch. Our 4th caution flies for the evening. The 67 of J.R. Patton hitting the wall on the backstretch, and so debris causing this fourth caution to fly. We take a look at the problems with J.R. Patton.
We saw him at the wall a few moments ago. He's up there with no man's land.
Boy, Chase has a hard time exiting turn 2, doesn't he?
There's the debris bouncing along behind the truck, but yeah, Chase helped him a little bit. It looked like it into the fence.
Now, Phil, the plot thickens a little bit here. We've run 20 laps, and I'm thinking we're going to get some pit stops.
This is where Bobby Hamilton, if nobody else pits, this is where Bobby Hamilton could come in, put that extra set of tires on. Yes, he'd lose track position, but I guarantee you that truck would be considerably faster than anybody that stays on the racetrack. So it's really going to be interesting to see. Remember, most of these trucks only had 4 sets of tires to run this race, 1 on the truck to start with, 3 in the pits. They've already put 1 of those sets on. We'll see if anybody's going to put their second set on right now. Remember, we have 85 laps to go.
And I think you're going to see all the leaders pit. I think these guys will come in, get another set of tires, but this is only 20 laps, Phil. That tells you how important. Look, all the leaders march into pit road after just 20 laps of green flag racing.
Wendy?
Casey Kane is coming in. They are not going to make any adjustments on his truck. They decided to put another set of stickers on his truck instead of those scuffs. They do have an 8th man on this pit stop, so they're pulling the tear off. You also see the 47 of Jason Leffler going down on the right side track bar, and 4 tires for Jason Leffler. Ray?
Wendy, Bobby Hamilton is here. No big chassis adjustment for him, but they will go down a pound of air on the right front. These guys go to work on getting the pit stop done. Bobby said he was not real pleased with that set of tires, so they'll continue on it, hold it up just a little bit, and Hamilton is back to the racetrack.
Another close call for Travis Wapple coming out of his spot.
For the second time, Travis just drove out right into the outside line. You had trucks running 35, 40 miles an hour, having to slam on the brakes to avoid them.
I guarantee you one cat that's smiling after that 20-lap run and 4 tires is Bobby Hamilton. He says, okay, maybe my game plan will come into play.
And we'll see if that game plan will come into play when we come back to Darlington, South Carolina. Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Darlington 200 on Speed Channel is brought to you by Domino's Pizza, the official pizza of NASCAR. By Miller High Life, to live simply, proudly, boldly, manly. This is the High Life. And by Chevy, the winningest name in racing, an American revolution.
We've got some radio communications with Bobby Hamilton. See what Bobby has to say. Bobby Hamilton, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. Can you hear me?
Phil, I got you.
All right, Bobby, your strategy right now, everyone's on equal tires, but you've still got that 1 extra set in the pits. If the cautions fall at the right times, you could use that thing.
Yeah, I mean, they'll help, but I mean, it's got to fall. This thing goes away so fast, the laps, I mean, because we don't have that many laps. But, you know, the worst case scenario, I get about $1,800 back credit on each team and go on home, hope for a good run with Square D Dodge. But everything's going pretty smooth right now.
You've had a good look at the 46 truck of Dennis Setzer. You told me yesterday that you wanted to stay ahead of him. How's your truck?
Truck's pretty good. I was a little tight to start off with. We freed it up, and we're going to leave it that way for just a little while because it seems the cooler it gets, the more everybody's getting tight. So we're going to ride this run out and see what happens.
All right, Bobby, get back to work and good luck.
Bobby Hamilton, after the pit stop, came back out 9th. Dennis Setzer came out 13th after that pit stop. So Dennis Setzer 4 spots back from Bobby Hamilton. Out in front, it's John Wood and Steve Park, who decided not to pit on that last caution. And so they might not have the tires that the field will have behind them.
Check out this, Rick. You'll see what 20 laps on new tires do. Steve Park was one of the fastest trucks in the field as he was racing up through the traffic. He had a really strong truck. Watch these cats on these new tires eat these 2 liters up.
Sometimes it takes about a lap for the air pressures to build up, but after about a lap, they should pretty much be sitting ducks for all these trucks with new tires on. Ray, what's going on with Steve Park? What were they thinking?
Well, the crew chief says it's a great strategy. Driver doesn't like it very much. Charlie Wilson said we want to save those tires for later. I think they're going to come in handy. Steve said just what you said. I think we're a sitting duck.
Well, he's done better than I thought he would. He held him off for a lap.
Phil, you mentioned on Thursday when we were watching practice that this This surface is so abrasive that you can really scuff your tires just driving through pit road.
Yeah, we always used to say if you just pushed your truck around the garage area that you scuffed the tires.
Problems with the 06. That's Jay Sauter off the pace on the backstretch, and that brings out caution number 5.
That was cool. Wait till you see the replay of this.
Yeah, Jay said he spun and never hit anything, which is a pretty good chore here at Darlington.
And I want to tell you how bad this was and how good of a job Jay did. NASCAR threw the caution because he was wrecking, but he never wrecked, and they were the lights were on, and the flagman was saying, what do I do? He didn't crash, and finally he threw the yellow flag. This was an amazing job of driving by Jay Sauter. It all got wadded up, Phil, exiting turn 2. 4 or 5 trucks just got in a pile, and Jay got hit and shot out of there. Wow. Watch this.
This is exiting turn number 2 here. So it looked like Ty Bodine may have bounced off the wall. Jay was all over the racetrack and never even spun.
Watch him. Shane's shooting around the top.
Watch the 30. Watch the 30. Oh, the 88 forces the 30 up into the wall. He comes off the wall, catches the right front corner of Jay, and sends him towards the inside. Jay steered the whole way, kept that truck out of the wall, never even spun out. And as you mentioned, NASCAR thought he was crashing, and he threw the caution flag.
So there almost was a crash by Jay Sauter. He'll come to pit road. We'll go take a break for a moment and be back with more racing.
Most of the time when we do a TV shoot, you don't get to see behind the scenes. But guess what? It takes about $50,000 worth of equipment and lots of light to make television look good. Well, what happens when the lights go down? Well, then you're in big trouble, so you have to come and get a Craftsman tripod light. This thing is fabulous because there's 4 different settings, and you can get up to 1,000 watts of light. They have these nice comfort grip handles right here so you can direct the light in any place that you want it. Now this tripod goes up and down and up to 70 inches tall. You can move it right in and get close to the work you need to do. And the best thing about it is you can buy this at your Sears store for only about 30 bucks.
I would buy anything from that guy. He's like that dude that sells the perfect club. You ever see him? It's the perfect club, I promise. Oh, Ray can sell some stuff.
He's a salesman, all right. John Wood trying to sell the fact that it was a good idea to stay out when everyone else pitted, and well,
I don't think anybody's buying, Rick.
We'll see how long that goes.
Well, if we run 2 or 3 laps for several times and the caution comes out, it's going to work well for him because he can. Looks like he can hold them off for a lap or 2. Looks like, is that Bobby Hamilton Jr. looking to the inside of Jason Leffler? That's actually Matt Kraft in the 6 truck. Bobby Jr. going to go by on the inside. Here comes Carl, the 99 on the inside, along with Jason Leffler. There's Jason, the Axiom Chevrolet, on the outside, number 47.
Boy, Carl has rebounded from a little bit of a slow start. That thing really looks good now. He's going to be a factor before this thing's done.
What's happening with Bobby Hamilton Jr., Ray?
Well, Rick, the first time they came in, he was way too tight, so they loosened him up. And this time he came down pit road, said that was way too loose. So they made a couple of changes for him on the chassis to try to tighten that thing back up. Bobby said just the tiniest little adjustment really made a big difference here. He said he thinks part of that is because they're racing at night.
Steve Park takes away the top spot from John Wood. And again, we'll reiterate, Steve Park on 20 lap less tires than Casey Kane, who's right behind him.
Yeah, and Steve's just doing a great job. I told you when he's coming through the pack, he was fast. Man, this is impressive, though. There goes Casey to get the lead. Still, I'm impressed with what Steve's doing.
Here come the new tires, though. This is when they're really going to be prevalent right now because of all the laps that these other drivers, as far as Steve Park and John Wood, have on their tires. We knew that John Wood would be a sitting duck, but we didn't realize that Steve Park was going to be the one that passed him initially. But Steve was able to get by him now. Casey Kane's able to get by him, and look at the little bit of a lead he's stretched out in just a matter of 1 lap.
Wow, look at the competition, Phil. They're stacked up from 1st to 30th on the front straightaway. Inches apart as they race down into turn 1.
Chad Chaffin working on Jason Leffler. Jason's going to try to go. Whoa, John Wood got big time sideways off that corner right in front of Jason Leffler. Another illustration of the new tires for Bobby Jr. in the 59, Carl Edwards in the 99. Steve's hanging out for dear life right now.
Boy, I bet you Steve would like to see them run about 20 laps, though, Phil. Then the leaders would have a real question to ask themselves. They're not going to take their last set of tires with over 60 laps to go.
Just as long as he doesn't get lapped. That's the key for Steve Park. As long as he can stay out there and John Wood before they get lapped and the caution comes out, they'll be in pretty good shape.
But Steve has managed to be good enough to drive away from the pack, Phil. You see John Wood, he's in the middle of this glob. They're going all over the place around John Wood. Steve's in some clean air. He's going to be able to stretch these new tires out for another 10 or 15 laps before the big pack of trucks catch him.
Before Casey Kane got by Steve Park, he was the 5th different leader of this race. Ray, what's going on with Steve?
Well, his spotter up on the roof, Rick, is Carl Miller, and what Steve said to Carl was, remind me every couple of laps that I've got to race this racetrack, not the guys that just got by me. They've got fresh tires. I want to race the racetrack, so just keep me informed of how quickly they're closing on me, but I got to keep in mind my tire situation.
Steve Park, John Wood, the two trucks that stayed out on that last caution. The last time they were in for a pit stop was on lap 36. So it's been over 40 laps since they've been in to have tires changed.
Wow. You see David Starr at the 75 truck drive to the inside of the 50. There's a late battle for the lead right there. Bobby Jr. on the inside of Casey Kane.
Side by side as they make their way through the corner. Coming out of turn number 4, Casey Kane drives away from Bobby Hamilton Jr. and holds on to the top spot.
Casey didn't play any I'm going to lay over and let him go, did he? That's a good battle there.
Not that time.
3 trucks separating themselves from the field. Casey Kane, Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Carl Edwards has moved into contention for this race. He has not led a lap here tonight. The 5 different leaders, the 2 of Casey Kane, the 59 of Bobby Hamilton Jr., the 50 of John Wood, the 29 of Deborah Renshaw actually led a lap earlier, and the 62 of Steve Park. Those have been your 5 different leaders tonight.
There's Todd Bodine, the 30 truck, trying to battle his way back to the front. Actually, we got a report during the commercial that his truck was not running warm enough, so he came in, put some tape on the front end. He's now battling back about to 18th position. He just drove by the 16 truck of Jack Sprague. There goes David Rudeman, the 17 NTM Bearing Toyota on the inside.
David left pit road after his last pit stop and the truck stalled. He sat over there while 20 trucks passed him by. He's back in the pack now, just getting around John Wood. We can see how far John's dropped now. Phil, he has to start beginning to be concerned about getting lapped because he knows he's dropped to the tail end of the field and the leaders are on his tail here before long.
You can make so much time up here on this racetrack with fresh tires. There's no substitute for fresh tires here at Darlington.
Ray Dunlap was timing practice on Thursday, and 20-lap tires could be as much as 2 seconds off. As we see a great pass for a second, Carl Edwards going on the inside of Bobby Hamilton Jr.
And Bobby was just battling with the lead, for the lead with Casey. So Carl has got a good truck. He's on his way.
Carl Edwards started the season at Daytona with a win. Thought that might be the most memorable win of his life. Then won at Bristol, and that was then almost the most memorable win of his life. Now, if he could win here, he'd win $30,000 for his team if he wins because he started on the pole tonight.
Plus, winning at Daytona is cool. And winning at Bristol is very cool. And winning at those are 3 tracks you'd write down. You'd say, I'd like to win at those places.
So much history at all 3 of these places. Darlington, the oldest super speedway in NASCAR, 1950, the first race here. 54 years we've been coming with this racetrack.
And this is the first time ever under the lights for NASCAR.
Wow. What a close moment. Steve Park just dropped another 4 or 5 spots. These guys all but crashed exiting turn 4. Watch this, Phil. Not this. This replay I want to show you. Watch.
Three wide?
Yeah.
Wow. Jack Sprague on the inside. Chase Montgomery in the middle. Again, now, Chase has been in some action in this race. See if we can take a look from another angle. You see him 3 wide right there. Steve's on the outside, hung on the outside.
Wow.
Did a great job not to get any more damage than he got right there. He could have been easily put into the outside wall and really scuffed up the right side of that truck.
But he didn't panic. You know, he saw he was in a bad situation. He just remained calm and was able to keep the truck from getting out of control. But now Steve is almost 3/4 of a lap down, and we've only run 15 laps. He was leading the race a minute ago. He needs a caution the next 5 or 6 laps, and all of a sudden that move not to put tires on plays into his favor because he'll have an extra set.
Casey Kane out in front of Carl Edwards, putting some distance between himself and second place Carl Edwards. Matt Crafton holding on to a top 5 spot. Welcome back to the Darlington 200 live on Speed Channel. Casey Kane out in front of Carl Edwards. Now Casey trying to work his way around slower lap traffic. The 06 of Johnny Sauter getting put down a lap, and Carl Edwards making the pass on the high side.
While we were at commercial, John Wood, the 50 truck, one of the 2 trucks that stayed out on our most recent caution flag, got lapped. What that means is that strategy absolutely did not work, unfortunately, for John Wood. Steve Park right now, he's probably about 6 laps away from getting lapped. He desperately needs a caution flag to get in and get some fresh tires on that Orleans Dodge.
But historically, Phil, you don't see a lot of cautions at Darlington. Everybody's slipping and sliding so much, Rick, that they're concerned about driving their truck. You know, they're concerned about just getting around the track. They're not going to run into somebody or try to push the issue too much, so therefore the caution flag doesn't fall that often.
Here at Darlington, you pretty much don't even want to be near anybody. It's enough of a challenge as we got a great side-by-side between father and son. Bobby Sr. on the outside, Bobby Jr. on the inside. Bobby Sr. takes over the 3rd position from Bobby Jr.
And it appears now that Bobby Hamilton has Dennis Setzer outmatched tonight. He seems to be able to go places and get to the front quicker than Setzer can. And Setzer's right now running in 9th. Bobby's been able to drive up to 3rd. 99 slow.
Problems with the 99.
Clear down.
Looks like the right front tire, maybe.
Well, that might.
Oh, and problems too for the 47. We got a spin in turns 3 and 4. The 47 gets spun around. That's Jason Leffler driving that All-Star Axiom Chevrolet.
And it was the right front tire on the 99 truck.
Well, this is the caution flag that Steve Park desperately needs.
And it's Bobby Hamilton really like this.
It also plays nicely into Bobby Hamilton's hands.
Bobby Jr. also has an extra set of tires, just like Bobby Sr. And Ted Musgrave had a set of tires, Michael, with only about 7 or 8 laps on them. So these 3 drivers may have a bit of an advantage right now. And I think we've got over about 55 laps to go. I don't know that these other trucks, if Bobby Sr. comes in, I don't know if these other trucks can afford to stay out on the racetrack. They may have to come in and get that last set of tires and hope they get no more caution flags.
And we're documenting that Carl Edwards was slowing just before that caution came out. This really could benefit him if he had problems or a flat front tire, because now he's not going to fall back once the caution comes out. He just has to hold his position.
There you can see it right there, the right front tire flat, as Michael mentioned as he drove by here.
But Carl's lost a lot of track position because he's unable to keep a reasonable pace. All the trucks are passing by Carl to catch up with the pace car. He's only going to go that fast because he doesn't want to tear up that right front fender. If that tire starts to tear apart and flapping inside that fender well, it'll do serious damage to the Super Chips Ford. So he's being smart. You can see the tire flies off there. He's being smart by pacing himself to get to pit road.
Yeah, he doesn't want those drivers to pass him, but he has no choice but to run slow enough to keep that tire from disintegrating and ripping that right front fender off that Super Chips Ford.
And here they come, brother. I bet you Bobby Hamilton is so happy right now he can't even hardly breathe.
Wendy?
Casey Kane is going to come in. This puts them in their pit window. They're putting their last set of stickers. They will go to the end now for Casey Kane. No adjustments on Casey's truck. Right?
Well, Wendy, they want to pull a tear off of Bobby Hamilton's windshield. He said he was having trouble seeing there. The guys go to work. Danny Rollins is his crew chief, but he also changes the front tires. Dale Newcomb's on the rears. Everything looks pretty routine so far. This will be set number 3 for Bobby Hamilton. You see the 2 truck is already on his way out of the pits there. Hamilton, a little bit of a hang up there. The front was done, but a little hang up on the left rear, but Hamilton will get away in 18 seconds.
Carl Edwards has just now made his way to pit road. Well, they can get the right, look at that right front tire there. That's what happens. But fortunately, it looks like the right front fender may still be intact. He's going to lose a lot of track position, but he's got a great truck and he's got a lot of time to try to get back to the front.
He didn't lose a lap, which he would have if this caution would not have come out, because he was slowing already just before the caution came out.
He'd have lost a couple, or very easily could have lost a couple.
There you see Steve Park drive out from on the bottom of your screen. He was another guy that really wanted this caution flag. His strategy may have worked because he's in the same boat right now as Bobby Hamilton. He has another set of tires in his pits, along with Bobby's Jr. and Ted Musgrave.
Now, the hard thing to call for Bobby Hamilton is what do we do now? We have 50 laps left in the race. What if there's a caution in 10 laps? Do I come and get them then, or do I hope there's one in 20 laps? Or how do you play that game, Phil?
I think he hopes there's going to be one in 20 laps, but he may not have a choice.
Well, we will find out after this next break. We'll ride along with Jason Leffler, who brought out the most recent caution. We've had 6 cautions already tonight. Jason Leffler in the Axiom 47 bringing out the most recent as we ride through 3 and 4 with him.
Welcome back to Darlington. We're about ready to go back to green. And what do you need to know about? How about stickers right here for Bobby Hamilton? 1 set left here in the pits. If he needs them, he's got them. Everybody else is about out of tires.
Ooh. You could get a lot of money for that set of tires, Phil.
Bobby Hamilton has not led, has not received 5 bonus points. Just in front of him, his son, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Will he step out of the way and let Bobby Hamilton Sr. get in front to lead a lap?
Well, he should let him go. Let him go ahead and lead a lap right away. And then if Bobby Sr. wants to let Bobby Jr. go back in front, that's fine. But I'll tell you, that set of tires is so critical right now. If the timing works, if the caution comes out there, you see Bobby Hamilton go now. When he comes back around to lead at the start-finish line, that will be 5 bonus points. That set of tires right there could be the difference between going to Homestead with maybe a 50-point lead and maybe not.
And look right there. Bobby Hamilton just pulls over and lets Junior go back by. Now we have Bobby Hamilton Jr. leading the race, and Bobby Hamilton has 5 more points than he had before that lap.
Ray? Well, just wanted to let you know that was all set up in advance here on the radio, and Bobby Jr. said, let's not try to slow down too much because we've been getting pretty good restarts. Bobby Sr. said, I'll get up there, I'll get that lap, and then I'll let you go right back at it. Get back to work, boy.
We saw Bobby slow down, let the 2 of Casey Kane drive by. Bobby right now is in a conservative mode. He knows that he's in the driver's seat. If the caution flag was to come back out from maybe 10 laps from now to 20 laps from now, he's going to have an extra set of tires. There's about 3 trucks that are going to have 3, maybe 4 trucks that are going to have an extra set of tires, and Bobby's one of them.
Wow, that is huge, Phil. They better have somebody guarding those tires. There'll be people trying to get them away from them. You don't understand how valuable a set of stickers at Darlington is when hardly anybody else has a set.
Well, we saw what happened to John Wood by staying out with about, 20 laps on his tires more than the rest of the field, and he got lapped in about 30 laps. That's how critical tires are here at Darlington.
What is the latest? What's the latest that Bobby Hamilton would decide to come in and put those stickers on?
Wow, great question. That's what I said to Phil earlier. What if there's a caution after 10 laps of green flag racing? Does he get them then? Or does he say, I think there's going to be one after 20? It's just a gamble, Rick. They have to just make a gamble, make a decision, and stick with it. I think if there's a caution with 10 to go and he can restart with 10 to go with fresh tires, he might do it.
Michael, I don't think so, because right now we're being shown 25 trucks in the lead lap. I don't know if he can pass 25 trucks with 10 laps to go. I think about 25 laps to go would be the cutoff for me to try to get in and put those tires on. Give up all that track position.
25 laps to go would mean that we'd have 21 laps from right now, and so that would be that much more that everyone else would have on their tires as opposed to him with 25 to go. So it could play out strategy-wise that he would want to come in with 25 to go if a caution came out. And again, everything has to line up for that to happen.
I just don't think he can afford to go beyond 25 laps to go. If there's 20 laps to go, I'm not sure there's enough time for him to get by all those trucks, because this is a narrow racetrack. Yeah, they're sitting ducks with tires, but it took a long time before Steve Hart really made his way back out of the top 15, and he had 20 lap older tires than everybody else.
And right now Bobby Hamilton's running 3rd. He's got a great truck. He could race for the win whether he uses those extra tires or not. So he knows he's in pretty good shape right now regardless. He just has an insurance policy set in the pit in the form of 4 sticker tires.
And Dennis Setzer right now is being shown in the 5th position. If Dennis Setzer was back in 16th, well, then maybe Bobby might gamble and pit a little bit later to put those tires on. But with Dennis running 5th, if Bobby gives up all that track position, only gets back to 10th, well, Dennis Setzer's going to gain 40 points on him.
David Rudeman making the pass on the 47 of Jason Leffler. Wendy.
Just wanted to add on the tire conversation on my end of pit road. Nobody has stickers left. Dennis Setzer, he has 23 lap tires sitting here on the pit wall. We also have Casey Kane, who has 30 lap tires, and the 47 of Jason Leffler, 30 lap tires left for him. Let's check in with Ray.
Well, thank you, Wendy. And keep in mind that Steve Park did not pit that one time on lap 36. He came in and put him in, but did not pit on 63. So that means he has a set of stickers left on the wall, too. And I've got to check on Ted Musgrave. There may be a chance that the one has tires left, too. I'll get back with you on that.
So strategy for tires has definitely played out now, as far as there's only a few trucks left that have sticker tires. If a caution comes out in the ideal position, we could see those 3 trucks moving up through the field. Right now, it's Bobby Hamilton Jr. that's leading the field. Casey Kane just behind him. Both of them have already led in the Darlington 200 this evening. Welcome back to the Darlington 200. Casey Kane comes right up behind Bobby Hamilton Jr. This is Casey Kane's first ever truck start, and he's looking to battle right now Bobby Hamilton Jr. for the lead.
Bobby Sr. now is closed up right behind Casey Kane. You're going to see him right there, the orange hood, or the yellow hood, Square D Dodge, blue truck, number 4 of Bobby Hamilton Sr. Got a great battle for the lead here amongst 3 trucks.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. trying to hold off Casey Kane. Only 2 other drivers in the history of the Craftsman Truck Series have won in their first race. Mike Skinner, he won the first ever race back in 1995 at Phoenix. And so that one was evident that someone was going to be the first ever winner in their first truck race. But Robert Presley won at Daytona back in 2002 in his first ever Truck Series race. So Casey Kane wanting to become part of a very short list of people that can win in their first ever truck race.
And Robert Presley was driving for Bobby Hamilton Sr.
Check out Casey. He always just tries to look just a little bit higher than the guy he's following. He likes to look on that outside to see if he can make anything happen. He ran very high in this morning's Nextel Cup practice through turns 3 and 4. Whoa, Bobby Jr. almost hit the wall and got in trouble. Lost his car and crashed.
Here's a race for the lead. Casey Kane trying to take away the spot from Bobby Hamilton Jr. and he will take that spot away.
Looked like Bobby Jr. slid up a little high right there, a little higher than he wanted to. Now he's not going to hold up his dad, Bobby Sr.
And Bobby Sr. looking to make it 3 in a row. And here's a race for 4th. Dennis Setzer getting by David Starr. And here comes Todd Bodine on the inside of Starr. Yeah, and so a lot of positions taking place in the top 6 right now.
Todd Bodine has continued to play catch-up after he came in, made that pit stop to put some tape on the front end. He has a great truck right now. We're about 30, as you see, 34 laps to go. I think right now Bobby Sr. would love to see a caution flag come out, because I think he may come in and put his last set of tires on if the caution was to come out right now.
But Phil, it would be still such a gamble to do that. He's going to go from second, where he's setting out there safe. Not a lot of trucks around him. He's got clean air. He can manage his race from there to going back to 25th or 26th on new tires and try to dodge all those people and race up through there. I don't know how to even do it then.
And remember, because hardly anybody else has any other new tires. If the entire field had new tires, the last half of the lead lap trucks would all come in for new tires. So Bobby would have to be racing them. So you may be right. He may right now decide to stay out this entire race. Ray, what about it?
Well, Phil, add a couple names to that list. Ted Musgrave in the Mopar Dodge has a set of stickers on the wall. And I believe that Carl Edwards does too. Apparently, did he not pit on lap 92? I'm not sure, but they say they have stickers down here. So 2 more trucks that will have tires if we would get a caution here quickly.
Yeah, I knew Musgrave probably had another set of stickers along with Steve Park, but the 99 of Carl Edwards, if he's got stickers down there, that was a bit of a surprise. He's obviously played a little strategy along with Cowboy. They must have put their practice set of tires that he had probably 20 laps on at some point. That saved him a set of stickers.
Oh, and problems. Spinning is the 43. Problems for Josh Richardson. And what did we talk about? A caution coming out with about 23 laps to go. Well, guess what?
We're going to find out right now. 31 laps to go. Are they going to pit, Michael?
I don't know. I'd really like to have that problem, try to figure out what to do. Bobby Hamilton is sitting in a position.
One more stop right here. One good stop for me.
It sounds like they're coming, bro.
We got on the lead lap.
That's Bobby asking the question. How many trucks on the lead lap? Where am I going to go back to?
24. Bobby is wanting to know. There's 24 trucks on the lead lap with the free pass. There will be 25. Bill Lester will get the free pass, and so there will be 25 trucks on the lead lap. Bobby Hamilton, we found out, has sticker tires. Ted Musgrave has a set of new tires, as does the 99 of Carl Edwards.
And Steve Park, the 62 truck. And Bobby Hamilton should have a set of tires. They may not, Bobby Hamilton Jr., they may not be stickers, but they will be very few laps on these tires. Here come Bobby Hamilton and all the guys with fresh tires.
Oh, me. These guys have got their work cut out for them, Phil. I don't care what your tires look like. This track is narrow. They're going to be back in 20th position. Ray, this is a calculated gamble these cats are making.
Well, absolutely, Michael, but Bobby Hamilton said, what is the drop-off? And his crew chief, Danny Rollins, said it was a second and a half just to the time that we were out there. He said, it's definitely worth the gamble. Give me the rubber. So there's the Square D Dodge. These guys go to work. He said, just need one good, smooth stop. You see, they pulled the tear off the windshield. The guys are done on the right side. Everybody swings around, everything going smoothly. We saw the 59 of Bobby Jr. also did come to pit road. There he is in the Harris Trucking Dodge. His Tide guys go to work for him, and they get that work done back out. No big issue about how quickly you get off pit road here when we're under caution. Everything got done, 5 on, 5 off, and both Hamiltons with 4 fresh tires. Wendy?
Casey Kane decided not to pit Trent Bruce on the pit box tonight. Also has help from Casey Kane's crew chief. Tommy Baldwin is also here in the pits tonight. They were counting trucks and trying to figure out who had what for tires, stickers, not. They decided at the last minute to stay out there, and then they did see the 4 and the 59 come down pit road. They came over the radio and told Casey Kane not to worry, to race his own race.
Whew. This is going to be fun, fellas.
We'll see how it unfolds at the track. Too tough to tame. The lady in black under the lights for the first time ever in NASCAR. Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Darlington 200 on Speed Channel is brought to you by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR and the NHRA. And by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's moving forward.
Okay.
I agree, Michael.
Here's what I think. Do I need to remind y'all that I've already stated earlier that I'm not the sharpest pencil in the drawer?
Knife in the
drawer, whatever I said.
Brightest bulb in the chandelier.
Okay, Rick, I think we got the point. There's no sense in hammering it home.
Elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. I'm sorry, keep going.
I think we get the picture. Okay, I don't think that those 3 can get there. There's, what, 27 laps?
There will be 27 laps to go when they take the green.
Okay, and they're in 17th. So that means they got to pass 16 trucks. That's got to at least cost them a second a lap to pass each of those trucks. And plus the distance they're behind. But the other guy got lapped. The guys leading the 50 and the 62 got lapped in 30 laps.
What happened now? What they desperately don't need is for a number of cautions, because they don't need any laps eaten up by yellow flag laps. They need all green flag laps to be able to make up as much time as they can. Casey Kane has had an extremely fast truck, along with Todd Bodine now, who has worked his way into the 2nd position, but they've got fresh tires at Darlington.
And there's 27 laps to go. And so Casey Kane has to try to hold on for 27 laps. Bobby Hamilton Jr., Ted Musgrave, Carl Edwards, Steve Park, they all want to work their way through this field with the fresh tires that they have.
Okay, Phil, do you think they can get there?
I think they can make it.
Do you think they're going to beat them?
I think one of those trucks will win this race. Bobby Jr., Bobby Sr., Ted Musgrave, Carl Edwards, or Steve Park.
And Bobby Hamilton Jr. is the furthest up in 17th, right behind him in 18th. Bobby Hamilton Sr., Ted Musgrave restarted 20th, Steve Park 21st, Carl Edwards 22nd.
Well, this is the race. If you wonder why we're showing the middle of the pack while Casey Kane drives away, this is the race. What these cats can do right now, how they're able to get through traffic, will determine whether they can beat him or not.
Bobby Jr. is already up to the 11th position. He passed 6 trucks that first lap after the restart. See if we can take a look at what that has. See if we can take a look right now with Bobby Hamilton Sr. running back where he is. What will that do to the points if the race were to end right now? But remember, he's got fresh tires. There is another position right there, Jack Sprague. That's 3 more points for Bobby Hamilton. See, Dennis Setzer right now at this very moment would have a 29-point lead. That's not going to happen because Bobby Hamilton is going to continue to pass a lot of trucks. Here he goes by 3 wide.
Now, one of the things that does happen, though, is we see cautions happening either in the middle or the back of the pack. And because of this tire change, they went to the middle and the back of the pack. They may get caught up in problems.
I've changed my mind. They're going to get there. Bobby Hamilton is already inside the top 10. How could he not get there, Phil?
Yeah, Bobby Jr. has really been extremely fast on this restart. You see Bobby Sr. right there has been able to get by that big wad of trucks. Bobby Jr. right there in front of Mike Skinner. Bobby Jr. is already up to the 8th position, and we still have 24 laps to go, Michael.
Well, he's up to 7th, Phil. By the time you finished your sentence, he passed somebody else.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. on a mission, has Matt Crafton in front of him in the good wrench number 6. Bobby Hamilton Jr. trying to reel in our leaders. We're going to take a look at how fast our trucks are going as they cross the start-finish line. Casey Kane just over 159 miles an hour. And now look at the trucks that have fresh tires. 160 for Bobby Hamilton Jr. 160.543 for Bobby Hamilton Sr.
And remember,
this truck.
That's passing trucks too, Rick and Mike. That is them passing trucks, and they're still running almost 3 miles an hour faster than our leader. See, Bobby Jr. goes by Johnny Benson. That's for the 5th position, already in the top 5. Wow.
Tires are definitely the story when you come to Darlington.
Well, this is fun and interesting.
You know, at the top of the show, we talked about the fact that Bobby Sr., along with a few other people, had an extra set of tires, and you said the planets and the stars all had to align. I think they did.
I think you might be right, Phil. I'm just amazed that it all worked out. But having a set of tires extra, you know that's a good thing. It just, could you use them or not? Will you be able to use them or not? And that question's being answered.
As Bobby Sr. told us, the worst thing could happen is he could turn them in, get $1,800 and take it home to Nashville.
Well, he's going to get a lot more than $1,800 if he's able to get past Dennis Setzer and take another step towards the championship that he so wants in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We'll be back with more racing. Darlington. Let's take a closer look at the Premier Division of NASCAR and our Nextel Cup update. These are the points with 2 races remaining.
Wow, it's a great battle, but we got to figure out what's going to happen here, Rick.
I agree.
Our plate's full.
We're riding along with Casey Kane. He is out in front of Bobby Hamilton Jr. by just under 4 seconds. Bobby Hamilton Sr. now coming up on Dennis Setzer. Ray, what's happening with the senior?
Well, Rick, you know, it's so funny when you stand here in the garage all weekend and you're waiting around for practice and nobody goes out. Bobby Sr. went out there, ran 2 really hard laps, had a total of 4 on that first set of tires. And you think to yourself, what in the world? How can he know he's that good? Well, Bobby Sr. came out of that truck and he said to me, it's like driving a go-kart, Ray. He said, that thing is perfect. And that was only 4 laps of practice. Well, one of the other things they felt like having an extra set of tires did was made a bit of a psychological challenge for his competitors. All these guys that didn't have those extra tires had to try to change their game plan to try to match up with the 4, and they knew, and there he goes by Setzer right there, and that'll be points that are very, very valuable. Hamilton by Setzer for position, what is that, 4?
That's correct. Bobby Hamilton taking away the 4th spot from Dennis Setzer. Wendy, what's happening with Dennis Setzer?
Dennis Setzer was contemplating with crew chief Danny Gill whether they should pit. They had 23 lap tires left on pit wall, so they decided not to pit. And Dennis, as you can imagine, is not happy with his tires right now as Bobby Hamilton just went by him.
Yeah, 23 laps on those tires, though, that he had in the pits with a number of heat cycles. Basically, he didn't have any good tires left in the pits. I think Danny Gill made a great call to stay out on the racetrack, keep the track position. Right now, you see the points as of now. If the race were to end, Bobby Sr. would have a 17-point lead over Dennis Setzer. The problem Dennis Setzer has right now, he's got 2 other trucks right behind him that also have fresh tires. Ted Musgrave currently being shown in 6th, and Carl Edwards being shown in 7th. Dennis Setzer's going to be a sitting duck for those 2 trucks also. That's probably going to be another 9 points he's going to lose.
Now, what this in essence does, if Bobby Hamilton is able to hold on and run as well, either finish first or second or in the top 3, we see the speeds at the line, how the tires have played into this. This will, in all practicalities, eliminate Ted Musgrave and Carl Edwards from this championship race. But Dennis Setzer is still having a strong run and is definitely in contention for this title.
He sure is, and he's having a great run today. He's got a good top 5 going again. He's going to get passed by both of these trucks right there.
Almost a problem with Ted Musgrave getting into him. Carl Edwards makes the move on the inside.
Maybe not in the order that we thought they were going to pass him, but nonetheless, he gets passed by both of those trucks, and he's going to lose 2 other positions. That's going to be another 9 points. But Dennis Setzer now is on equal tires to everybody behind him other than Steve Park, who's currently being shown in the 10th position. So Steve could get up there also and get by Dennis Setzer. We look at the points as of now. Remember, that's how important it was for Dennis Setzer to lose those 2 other positions. Now he's 31 points behind if the race were to end right now. But again, I think Dennis Setzer is going to be able to maintain this position, maybe lose 1 more position. Bobby Jr. right now is 2nd. Bobby Sr. is in 3rd. It's going to be interesting to see if Bobby Jr. gets the lead and Bobby Sr. 2nd. Is he going to pull over and let his dad win this race for the 10 extra points?
And not only 10 extra points, but right now, Bobby Hamilton Sr.'s winning percentage at Darlington is 1,000. He's won every race he's run here, which is 2. The possibility exists he could win 3 races and have a perfect average of winning every race he's been here.
Rick, I don't think that's going to be the motivation. The motivation is going to be the 10 extra points, the difference between 2nd and 1st, 10 extra points. That could really loom large.
Problems with Dennis Setzer. Our 2nd place in points gets spun around. The caution comes out for the 8th time. You heard his crew chief, Danny Gill, say, fire it up, Dennis.
He'll put those 23 lappers on there now, Phil.
Absolutely, and he'll love them right now, unfortunately. I think he's got some flat tires.
Jason Leffler was on pit road when that caution fell.
He may have 4 flat tires, Dennis Setzer. You can see both front tires are definitely flat.
Left rear is flat.
Left rear is flat, and I think I saw the right rear blowout.
He'll have to be really careful not to go too fast. We saw Carl do a smart job of getting back to the pit without losing a lap and without tearing his truck up, and he's parlayed that into a top 5 spot right now.
And let's take a look at what happened.
You see Dennis Setzer right there. There's the 43 truck of Josh Richardson. Comes up on him, slows down. Dennis maybe gets a little loose there, but he still follows him down the back straightaway. They head down into turn number 3. Josh pulls up on the inside, gets sideways, and then as he tries to correct it, he catches the left rear corner of Dennis Setzer and turns him around. That is going to just be such a heartbreak for Dennis Setzer in the point standings. We saw that he was going to be about 30 points behind.
You're going to have to go.
Unbelievable turn of events for Dennis Setzer. We thought we would have a good point battle going to Homestead, about 30 points maybe. Right now, if the race were to end, Dennis Setzer would be 80 points behind.
And he's just trying to do
83.
his best job, Bill, trying to nurse that truck back to pit road, get 4 other tires on it without tearing up his front fenders. We can see the tires flying off the back. He can't do any damage in the back, but if those front ones get to flapping, he's got big problems.
What a tough break for Dennis Setzer. He was having by far the best finish of his career here at Darlington, whether it was a Busch car or a Craftsman truck. Wendy, what's going on in their pits?
Well, all the tires are flat, as you can imagine, on Dennis Setzer's truck, but he did not pit because pit road was not open, and Dennis made that call. They did not want to lose any more spots or go down a lap by coming down pit road while it was closed. You can imagine that the crew was watching the broadcast when you showed the points as of now, and they all threw their hands up. So they are definitely thinking points at this point. The only thing they can do is put 4 fresh tires on it, or those old tires of what they have with 30 laps on them, and get back out there and try to salvage a good finish.
Wendy, I think it was a mistake for Dennis to ride around on those flat tires. His penalty for pitting early would be having to start at the tail end of the longest line, which is the lead lap line, which is where he was going to restart anyways. But unfortunately, it's going to be a heartbreak for Dennis Setzer. Big time break for, or big time bad break for Casey Kane. As we mentioned before that caution came out, the worst thing could happen to Casey Kane was a caution flag, because that allows Bobby Jr., Bobby Sr., Carl Edwards, Musgrave, all those guys with the fresher tires to get right up on his bumper.
And I think that I feel that there's less than 10 to go, so it'll be a single file restart, and Setzer will be able to start on the back bumper of some lead lap trucks. So didn't do any damage to his truck, so he might have got away with it.
He might have. Of course, that's exactly right. Yeah, if he would have pitted early, like I said, then he probably would have to start behind all the trucks because of a single file restart, so he would have had virtually no chance to get any positions back.
Todd Bodine currently being shown in 4th position. Let's take a look at our newest manufacturer in our Toyota Spotlight. Riding along with Mike Skinner. Positions as we run right now, Todd Bodine in the top 5, running 4th currently. Johnny Benson, another top 10 run for him, currently in 8th.
Good run for Robert Huffman, hung around the top 10 all night long.
Currently being shown right behind Mike Skinner in the 12th position.
Rudeman's had a great truck all night, just had some trouble exiting the pits earlier and lost 10 or 15 spots and hadn't been able to get them back.
One week from today, 2004 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season comes to an end. Homestead Miami Speedway from South Florida, mile-and-a-half High Bank Speedway, the backdrop for a championship battle. Bobby Hamilton, Dennis Setzer, we just seen dropping back in the points because of a spin. He will be just over 85 points. He's 86 points back right now, but he is still in striking distance if Bobby Hamilton has problems. And so a great championship battle going to be taking place, and that is on next Friday.
Well, and plus he's not done. He's got 4 fresher tires and a lot of those trucks right in front of him. He's going to have 4 or 5 laps. Every truck is 3 points, thank you. And so he knows the importance of getting around some trucks so he can put the heat on Bobby Hamilton when we go down to Florida next week.
Take a look at why we're under this caution. This was the 8th caution to come out. Josh Richardson right behind Dennis Setzer.
It's just a bad break there. Josh is obviously on some better tires than Dennis and drove up there and got sideways and run into him. You really hate to be a factor in the championship, and I know Josh hates what happened, but Dennis just got spun out there. Wendy, what's going on in the pits? Anything?
A little bit of arguing between crew chief Danny Gill and the NASCAR officials. He was arguing that all 4 tires were flat. He should get a set of stickers to be able to put on the truck. NASCAR was saying no, they're not going to let him have a set of stickers. Danny Gill says it's a shame that tires is what's going to win the championship.
Well, tires have been the story tonight. I mean, we've covered it from one end to the other. I've been on both sides of the fence thinking it wasn't going to work, and it was going to work. And, man, I guess we should have seen with what happened to Park and John Wood in just 20 laps. They got lapped.
Well, remember trackside last night, Carl Edwards was on there with you, and he said that we know that Bobby Hamilton Sr. has an extra set of tires. We're going to have to do some pit strategy to get in sync with him. They did that. Carl had a set of stickers on the wall when he came in for his last pit stop, just like Bobby Sr., and he's being shown in the 5th position.
That's just smart. You know, Cowboy and them impress me all the time with the job they do. And Carl, we didn't know why Carl wasn't running that great, but obviously they put on some other tires during the course of the race. And then when he got his good stuff, he was ready to roll, shot up to the top 5. I can't wait to see how all this plays out. You got Bobby Jr. running 2nd, his dad in 3rd, chasing a championship. They're both on better tires than the leader, Casey Kane. And then Carl Edwards and Ted Musgrave both have better tires than Todd Bodine. And all this stuff's got to get settled in about 5 laps. How's all that going to happen?
And you throw into the mix that Dodge has never lost at this racetrack in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It's been won by Bobby Hamilton, Ted Musgrave, and Bobby Hamilton, the 3 previous races. And the top 3 right now are Dodges: Casey Kane, Bobby Hamilton Jr., and Bobby Hamilton.
And there's 6 laps to go when they take the green, and Bobby Hamilton Jr. is going to run into Casey just to let him know he's serious.
Yeah, they're just completing lap 141. They will get the green the next time by. That will be 5 green flag laps to settle this thing.
I told you I wasn't so smart.
What was it, the sharpest knife in the drawer?
I'm not even going to say. Let's go down to a sharp.
You lay off me.
We're going to go down to a very sharp gentleman, Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, Bobby Hamilton Sr. just came on the radio, said talk to the spotter and get to Bobby Jr.'s spotter and tell him not to run in the back of the number 2 truck. He said, remember what happened in the Busch race today. We saw that when one car had a problem with the transmission, there was a big wreck on the front stretch, and Bobby Sr. said, lay back on him a little bit. We'll get the lead in a hurry, but do not run into that 2 truck on the restart.
That's a voice of experience talking to the youth and exuberance.
Yeah, because that could take out Bobby Sr. If something happened to the 59 truck, if he runs in the back of Casey in the 2 truck, Bobby could get caught up in it, and he ends up losing points to Dennis Setzer.
Bobby wants this to be the world's smoothest restart, and the trucks with the better tires pass the sitting duck, and they go and settle this thing among themselves.
We mentioned earlier Casey Kane in his first ever truck race, and he could join some pretty impressive company. Robert Presley won at Daytona in 2002 in his first truck race, and Mike Skinner won the inaugural race, obviously in his first truck race. And so Casey Kane looking to become just the 3rd driver ever in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series history to win in his first ever truck race. The green flag flies, and we have 5 laps to go.
You saw Bobby Jr. lay off of Casey. Casey actually spun the tires a little bit, trying to get going on those old tires. Now is when the new tires are going to show up for Bobby Jr. and Bobby Sr. You see Carl look to the inside of Todd Bodine for the 4th position. Carl also has new tires, along with Ted Musgrave. And there's Steve Park, also with fresher tires than the other drivers.
Carl Edwards looking on the inside of Todd Bodine, right up behind him as they come out of turn number 4.
Now we saw Steve Park hold off the leader on his older tires for a couple laps. Casey only needs to hold him off for a couple more, and he's going to win the race.
Bobby Hamilton sitting back in 3rd, putting a bunch of distance between himself and his son Bobby Hamilton Jr. out in front of him. So Bobby Hamilton thinking championship right now.
Oh, he spins him out.
Carl Edwards got on the inside of Bodine. The smoke flying. Bodine still yet to turn around. Now he gets spun around. The caution will come out. This is the 9th caution of the night. We will finish green-white checker.
A terrific break for Casey Kane. He was able to hold off those drivers for 2 or 3 laps. He's only going to have to do it for 2 laps. His tires are going to be able to cool during the caution flag. I tell you, this race may not be over for Casey Kane.
Dennis Setzer, what about the rebound he's made? Shot all the way up to the 17th spot, Bill.
Yeah, great recovery for Danny Gill and Dennis Setzer, that entire Chevrolet Silverado team.
They're 80 points out of the championship.
All right. I don't think he's going to beat him. I think Casey's going to win.
I do too. Here's what happened. You see Carl Edwards. He's got fresher tires than Todd Bodine. He's trying to be patient. He's going to drive down. He actually just runs in the back of him, clutches him in the left rear corner.
Look at Steve Park. Just slips by. It's so hard to drive down there on the apron. It's so slippery, Phil. Steve did a great job getting by. He's now running the top 5.
Carl lost a number of positions because he was on the outside. Let's ride with David Starr. You see this smoke up there.
Hold your line. Back it down a little bit. Coming across. All the way to the box. Go high. Straight through. Straight through.
Good job by David Starr's spotter. Guiding him right through. Here's Mike Skinner's on board.
In front of us. In front of you. He's up. He's up. He's up. Stay high. Stay high. Stay high.
Oh,
he's up.
wow.
He's up, man.
Runs in the back of Matt Crafton.
Pretty significant damage to the 5 truck, Ray. Who you got down there?
Well, I'm with Harold Hawley, and he's talking on the radio right now to Bobby Jr. Bobby Sr.'s been on the radio kind of coaching Bobby Jr. a little bit about his entry into 3. Hey, it looked like that 2 truck was able to hold him off for a few laps, so what's going to transpire here on a green-white checker?
Well, we'll have to see. You know what? We got about 25 laps on him on the tires, so Junior's trying to tell us right now what he's getting ready to do. So
when he does, let us know, okay?
Okay, I'll be sure and tell you.
All right, that's Crew Chief Harold Hawley. Wendy, who you have?
Bruce, I'm with Tripp. Bruce, Casey Kane's crew chief. Tripp, you guys obviously didn't have any stickers left to put on that caution. Can you hold them off one more time?
They got the better tires. We got the better truck. We know Casey can do it. We just have to see how it plays out here. I mean, I can't wait to restart.
How has Tommy Baldwin helped on the pit box tonight?
He's up here just giving some enthusiasm, I guess. You know, he's not really saying much. He's just as interested in seeing us win this race as we are.
All right, I think Ray's caught up with Bobby Hamilton's crew chief.
Yeah, and that'd be Danny Rollins. What's going to happen here, dude?
I don't know. If the 59 can't get around the 2 truck, maybe that little father-son deal might pay off.
I think we figured that one out, guys.
I'm glad to see and hear that the folks down on pit road are as confused about all this as I am. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Hey, look at the points race now. Dennis Setzer was back 83 points. He's already moved up. Now he's only 65 out of the top spot.
But I don't think he's done passing people yet. I think Dennis is going to be able to get some more spots.
He has He'll have 2 laps to do it in.
You see Carl Edwards right now driving on the outside of Ted Musgrave. He's got a question about where he's supposed to restart, and that's how you're supposed to settle it. NASCAR will actually settle it. You just drive up beside the guy and let NASCAR tell you where you're supposed to go. Carl slowed down so much after that contact that turned around Todd Bodine that about 5 or 6 trucks passed him, but now he's trying to determine what spot he's supposed to be in, because NASCAR says as long as you maintain proper speed, you will be able to get your lap or your position back, because you do not race back to the flag. So NASCAR has to look at the film and determine exactly where Carl should line up.
And I'm not sure how that works. I've been confused sometimes about how exactly we get lined up. But what happens, there's invisible lines across the racetrack that are timing lines that put the trucks in order when they cross that line. Now, the caution comes out. You might be ahead of a guy that you were behind when you went across this line on the racetrack. NASCAR uses those lines in order to line the field up. So Carl slowed down, lost 10, 12 spots, but he went across the line ahead of those guys. It'll be interesting to see if they put him back in front of them.
Can we compare this back to your win at Nashville, when a caution happened right in front of you and you were able to drive through it, and when it was scored out, you were in front of the other drivers?
It all has to do with the reasonable speed. Did Carl maintain a reasonable speed? Should he be allowed to drive back up to the 5th spot? I'm wondering if slowing down to miss a wreck is a reasonable speed. What determines what a reasonable speed is? I think that's the question that has to be answered. It appears, however, that Carl is going to be able to restart right where he was at 5th spot.
So he will start behind the number 1 of Ted Musgrave. Again, Ted Musgrave, Carl Edwards, Steve Park, Bobby Hamilton, and Bobby Hamilton Jr. all able to put on brand new tires on the last pit stop, and so they were able to move up through the field, and now they are in the position that they want to be in, right behind a truck that doesn't have fresher tires.
A guy that got off to a great start on that last restart, though. This is good stuff. This is as good as it gets at Darlington in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
I don't think Bobby Jr. is going to be quite as conservative on this restart, because he knows he doesn't have a whole lot of time. He's got 2 laps to try to get by Casey Kane. Casey was able to hold him off for 2 laps because Bobby Jr. laid off him on the start. He let him get going, even though it looked like he spun his tires a little bit. So Bobby Jr. maybe try to make something happen right here on the restart.
One time, green, white, checkered in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Everyone on their feet for this finish. Casey Kane brings him to the green flag.
Green flag.
Oh, he brought him down slow, Rick.
Oh, problems! Bobby Hamilton Jr. gets spun around. Bobby Hamilton Sr. takes over the 2 line, and problems behind them. David Runeman hitting very hard into the side of the 59 of Bobby Hamilton Jr.
That means the race is over. We only get to do a green, white, checkered 1 time.
And I hope Bobby Jr. is okay. That's the worst.
Yeah, David Runeman also quite hard contact.
Bobby Jr.'s moving around.
He's taking a net down.
See if we can pan back and see if Runeman's okay in there. Look at the right front tire, Phil. It's driven all the way back to the 17 on the door. What a terrible crash.
What a hard lick. Great to see Bobby Jr. pull that window net down on his own. There you see Bobby Jr. right there taking his helmet off.
Obviously frustrated. And Bobby Sr. was coaching him not to get into the back of the 2 on the restart. And look at what happened to Bobby Hamilton Sr.'s front end as he got into the back of his son, Bobby Hamilton Jr.
Wow. Here they come to take the white flag. Casey Kane will be your winner. Bobby Sr. will finish 2nd. But what a horrible break. I'm sure Bobby Hamilton, under no circumstances, wanted this race to end that way. And I'm sure his concern right now is way more than finishing position and points. It's for Bobby Jr. right there, who's great to see him get out of that truck.
Well, I hope Rudeman's okay. We haven't seen him yet, but I was concerned about Bobby Jr. and the way that truck hit right in the driver's door. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here, Phil. What went wrong with this restart?
It looked like maybe Casey Kane was spinning the tires again. You see him wiggle a little bit, and Bobby Jr. laid off it from some reason. I don't know if he backed off or maybe he spun the tires, but Bobby Sr., wow, hard contact from David Rudeman. Remember, David had that hard crash at Atlanta a few weeks ago. But so great that the safety devices that NASCAR has implemented does so much for these drivers.
Rudeman got out of his truck and into the ambulance on his own power. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Bobby Jr. missed a shift.
Looks like he missed a shift, and Bobby Sr. had no way to avoid that, but what hard contact again. That's a second hard hit for David Ruderman in the last few weeks.
Watch the smoke out of the left side of this truck. See it right there?
Yeah.
That's a misshift or something malfunction in the truck's engine.
Yeah,
drive line when he went to shift.
I said Atlanta was actually Texas where David Ruderman and Bill Lester made such hard contact with the outside wall.
Checkered flag will fly as Casey Kane comes across the start-finish line. This wasn't the way he wanted it to end, but it is a win nonetheless in his first ever Craftsman Truck Series start.
What a terrific job by Trip Bruce, the entire Ultra Motorsports team, Team ASA, CarQuest Dodge. Casey Kane jumps in this thing. They had Jamie McMurray jump in this thing a few weeks ago when the race in Martinsville. Casey Kane jumps in it. First ever Truck Series race. Puts it in victory lane again.
We look again at why we finished under caution. This is the restart, the final restart with 2 laps to go. Bobby Hamilton Jr. getting spun around. David Ruderman caught up into that. And that brought out the final caution of the night, the 10th and record caution for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Darlington. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. Let's go down to Gatorade Victory Lane and Wendy Norris.
Casey Kane climbs out of the 2 Ultra Motorsports truck in his first appearance in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and his first victory as well. Casey Kane, tires did not have a play for Casey. He was able to hold them off as we saw the green-white checkered rule take effect. Only 1 attempt at the green-white checker. Was that probably lucky for you? You didn't have to hold them off one more time.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably lucky for our Team ASC Dodge, but at the same time, I would have loved to, you know, go the other 2 laps and try to, you know, just hold them off. It was had a great race truck. I mean, these guys did an awesome job, and pit stops were good. It was a lot of fun. First time to drive these things. Thank Jim Smith a lot for letting me drive it, and you know, these Team ASC guys did an awesome job all night.
Now, I saw you making adjustments to your seat, putting the extra cushion in there right before the start of the race. You were a little uncomfortable seeing out of the truck. What do you think about these trucks now, and can we see you in this Ultra Motorsports #2 again?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely right there, and you know, I hope to get to drive this truck again sometime. It meant a lot for me to get to drive it. The engine run great. I really don't know what kind of an engine it is. I don't know enough about this team, but the engine run awesome all race long, and I think Dodge might have wrapped up the manufacturer championship there too for the trucks. That's pretty cool.
All right, Casey Kane, his first ever Truck Series race, first ever win. Casey Kane, as he takes the 34th career victory for Ultra Motorsports. Rick?
And he is correct. Dodge did wrap up the Manufacturers Championship today with that win. Here are your points in the Ford point standings. Bobby Hamilton 64 points in front of Dennis Setzer as they go to Homestead. And what that means is Bobby Hamilton needs to finish 12th to win the championship no matter what Dennis Setzer does. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, it's obviously time for some reflection right now for Bobby Hamilton Sr. as he still sits in this Square D Dodge. And Bobby, that's an unbelievable finish. It's a race where you gained a lot of points tonight, but a tough ending.
I just wish it'd be me. That's a tough one.
I think that's all that needs said there, guys. He obviously sitting here reflecting back on a big night in the points. Bobby will definitely remember this one, but it's a tough one because it was Bobby Jr. right in front.
But Phil, in Bobby's defense, he could do nothing.
No, absolutely.
You're lined up for a restart, and something either broke on that 59 truck, or he just didn't hit the shift, or something went wrong, and Bobby was just there. He was a victim of circumstances.
From that other angle, we could see a little puff of smoke out of the tailpipes, and as you mentioned, either missed a shift or something happened like that. Bobby Sr. had absolutely nothing that he could have done to avoid that accident.
Very disappointed Bobby Hamilton Sr. taking his son out on the restart. Casey Kane ends up winning this one, and as we had mentioned, Dodge wraps up the championship with this win.
Great top 10 finish for Robert Huffman, another top 10 in 9th.
Schrader rebounded from a dismal qualifying effort to get up to 11th.
Dennis Setzer finishing in 15th, and as I mentioned, Bobby Hamilton, all he has to do is finish 12th at Homestead, no matter what Dennis Setzer does, to wrap up the championship.
And Mike Skinner, he had a close shot at a top 10 going till he made contact there, ran in the back of the truck on one of those caution flags.
27th, Bobby Hamilton Jr. after the problems on the front stretch. Kelly Sutton, the first out of this one. We'll be back to wrap up the show from Darlington after this. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR and the NHRA. Casey Kane continues to celebrate in Gatorade Victory Lane, becoming the 7th different driver to win in the number 2 truck. Let's go down now to Wendy Norris, who's with Dennis Setzer.
Dennis Setzer ends up 15th after that wreck with Josh Richardson. Dennis, tell me what happened from your point. Josh, a lap car was going around you, or you were getting around him?
Yeah, he was probably on a little fresher tires. We were on some older tires out there, but I waved him by and going into 3, and he got into us in the middle of 3 and 4. Just unfortunate for our Team Silverado right there. Had a pretty good truck. We elected to stay out, which about everyone but Bobby and Bobby Jr. and a couple others had new tires left on that last stop. So we were about as far back as we were going to go and beating everyone behind us, and just unfortunate deal for us.
Dennis Setzer, that puts him 64 points behind Bobby Hamilton. Ray?
Hey, Carl Edwards had a good run tonight, but I'll tell you what, 1 race left in your Craftsman Truck Series career. What did you learn about Darlington tonight, though, to make you better for the rest of the weekend?
I'll tell you what, tires are great. I'm really glad we've got a ton of them over there in our World Financial Group pit for the Cup race, but my crew's awesome. We did a great job. I think we had a really, really fast truck. We just we had that tire go down and it set us back. We didn't have enough time or tires to get back up to the front. It's a pretty exciting race, though. I had a good time.
It sure was. Good luck at Homestead. Carl Edwards, who finishes in the 4th position.
Our final race will take place at Homestead Miami Speedway next Friday. That's November 19th, 3 p.m. Eastern. And that is where the championship will be decided between Bobby Hamilton and Dennis Setzer now. And a reminder, we will skip over to the speed stage where Steve Burns is standing by for NASCAR Live. And in about 5 minutes, we will be sent out to the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown that will be taking place next, coming up at the top of the hour. Casey Kane enjoying his first ever victory in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and he joins 2 other drivers that have done that before.
He did such a great job holding off those drivers with fresher tires. A super job by Casey Kane.
What a great race. It had all the drama you expect in a Craftsman Truck Series race. Now we're going to go to Miami next weekend with the championship battle still in balance.
64 points separate Bobby Hamilton from Dennis Setzer. We'll be back at Homestead on Friday.